Welcome back to Man Down Sports. Game six is in the books. Denver Nuggets take game six. They get a 119-107 win over the OKC Thunder. They did force the game seven. This is one of the things I talked about. Was it yesterday when I talked about this, or maybe after the game five win? I said that the best thing for the OKC Thunder to do is to avoid the game seven. I mean, this is a championship team. They got experience. We just seen what they can do in the game seven against the Clippers. They're gonna be ready to go. Their confidence is sky high. They think they can win this. They just found the spark from the bench. You know, they went to Strawther. They've been trying to bring Strawther out there and see what he can give them for the last couple of games. And he hit maybe one or two big shots in those games, but he wasn't impactful enough to stay on the floor and really make a difference. But tonight, he got some threes to go up and go down. He played some good defense. He got to the hole. He got to the line. Very energetic out there. Very confident. And I think that's something that Denver Nuggets can look forward to in Game 7. You know, so we'll see if they come out with all fire on all cylinders and all that stuff. So this is going to be a big game. Of course, it's a Game 7. It's going to be big. But it's going to be big for OKC as well because they get to learn something about themselves, right? And we learned something about them tonight. You know, this was a biggest test. This game 6 was a big test just as the game 7 would be. So if you can't get up like you're supposed to get up for a game 6, you know, you really got to prove it to yourself that you can do it for a game 7 because you're supposed to be able to do it for a game 6 if you can do it for a game 7, right? You know, so whatever happened in game 6, you know, the rule of thumb is it's more than likely to happen in game 7 as well. Right. So, you know, I look at the standard that the Bulls set with Michael Jordan. They didn't like a lot of game 7s. Did they have some? Yeah, they had some game 7s in the East. I think Indiana took them to a game 7. Maybe the Knicks as well took them to a game 7. Now, this is when they was on top. Now, you know, of course, when they was battling the Pistons and stuff like that, it probably was some game 7s there, but they should, you know, they should have had the right stuff and been in the right mind to close this game out in game 6. You know, so that doesn't, you know, they got to prove something. They got to prove something to themselves, and they got to prove something to us as the people that's watching the game as well, because you know, this was a game you were supposed to have. You were supposed to have this game. So what did I see go wrong? You know, I'm not gonna go over too much of the numbers and stuff like that, but you know, it's worth pointing out the third quarter was when the spark came from the bench from Strawther. That huge spark. They got a couple of threes to go down. Murray hit some threes, you know, so that was a huge thing that, you know, gave them the lead, gave them a 9-point or a double-digit lead, and they didn't look back from there. So the fourth quarter don't look like it was that horrible. The third quarter, though, is where it happened, and they didn't recover from that. They couldn't hit shots in the fourth. And they got rattled as well, right? So some of the mistakes and they very small mistakes that I'll point out that just was what am I looking for? Was an indication that this was going to be a tough one for them, right? So there was a run they went on, and Jamal Murray had just got a fast break score. He scored on Jalen Williams. He wanted an and one. And he screamed at the referee for the and one. So he's hyped up. The crowd is hyped. And Jalen Williams, who's been very disciplined, because you have to be so disciplined when you guard Jokic. You can't go for his pump fakes. You can't get frustrated when he hooks you on one of his quick spins, or when he pushes you, or when he flops and stuff like that. That can't rattle you. So I'm thinking Jalen Williams is a guy who's very mentally strong, very mentally tough, because I'm like, man, he's staying disciplined. He's standing on his feet, hand up, not going for pump fakes. I like it. I like him defending Jokic. I'm thinking he's not easily rattled. But after that and one score, he comes down and he's guarding Jokic. I think they did a 1-5 screen where Jamal was screening him, and before he got set to set the screen up, he just pushed Jamal Williams in the back. And in a regular season game, that and maybe in the first quarter, second quarter, that foul could have been called. But in a playoff game, especially in the heat of the moment, second half, while the team was on a run, right? Because one thing you got to know about the NBA is an entertainment business, right? So getting calls right is the job of the referee. Getting calls right is part of that, but they also got a responsibility to the networks and the fans because ratings are important, right? So if the crowd is wild and all the emotions is going, the juices is flowing, and it's a run, referees don't stop those runs with whistles. Like you really have to foul for a referee to call a whistle and stop a run, because runs is what. Oh man, a lot of things about to happen. We might see like we might see threes in a row. Like we can't stop that. Once that thing gets to going, they don't want to stop that, right? So Williams, when he should have just said, okay, I got pushed in the back and let it go. This clown decided to after he got pushed in the back, turn around and go over to Jamal Murray and push him even harder than where he got pushed, right in front of the referees. And I'm like, why? I mean, why would you do that, right? I thought that was a turning point because that's a run that's going on. They done scored 2 or 3 times in a row. They got a little 6-point lead at that time, and it would have been nice for y'all to come down here and get a point. Instead, you push somebody in the back, offensive foul. They go down here and score again, right? So that was one of them. A bunch of layups that I mean, it was some layups that just, especially the one Jay Will had when he went up left-handed and it was really a fast break. He could have tried to finish that, but he did something cute with it. Watson blocked that. It was a lot of things that happened on the fast break that didn't turn into 2 points when it should have, and those are things that could have stopped the run or started a run from themselves, man. So those little small things I saw that let me know that they can't be mentally ready for some. I mean, I ain't saying that they was like not ready, but you can kind of see telltale signs when one team don't have the stuff tonight and the other team do. So I was seeing signs that OKC might not have the stuff tonight. You know what I mean? Not Jason, but Jamal Williams, the All-Star, he didn't have his stuff for sure. And what we're seeing in the last 2 games in the fourth quarter from Denver, with their legs getting tired and them not making shots, didn't happen this game, and it did happen for OKC. So those were some things I seen. I mean, there was a free throw disparity, but this game was winnable. So OKC got to go. They got to go be able to go and go get that game, and they didn't. Right. The foul trouble for Shea early in the first half. I mean, he picked up 4 in the second quarter. So picked up his 4th foul in the second quarter. That was huge, right? Because now he got to play a little bit different on defense, and that was a whole bunch of stuff. So Denver had that stuff tonight, and OKC didn't have their stuff. So that's what that boils down to. But I don't have much else about that. I'm gonna get to some of these comments, but I got a full show planned for y'all, man. So y'all go get a full show with call-ins and all of that. So I got some things I wanted to talk about that happened this week. Jeffrey Garrett, what's good, my brother? Goldmine, what's good? What's good? Jalen Williams definitely. He owed his teammates a better game than this, but hopefully if he shows up in game 7, that he's not the only one to show up. Hopefully everybody's ready to go. Hopefully everybody for Denver is ready to go as well, because if this game 7 is really good, it'll be good for the NBA as well. So we get a game 7 to see who goes to the Western Conference Finals to face Ant-Man and Minnesota T-Wolves. Madman, Wolves better off playing OKC. Denver wins if they face them. That's interesting. You think so? Interesting. Why you think Denver wins if they play OKC? That's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like what Minnesota got going on. I like their mentality. I like their mentality for sure. I like OKC's as well, but if they can't pull out this game 7, they're really going to regret giving that game 1 away. They're really going to regret that. I don't even say there's another game in this series that they gave away. I think Denver beat them tonight, and I think Denver beat them. What was it? Game 3 as well. Denver beat them game 3. Denver beat them tonight in game 6. OKC beat themselves in game 1, and I mean, you don't want no games like that. You know what I mean? And if you do have a game like that, you just can't have. I mean, you really got to make sure you take care of business in the rest of them. And this is a game 6. You had to take care of business, and I guess they wasn't mature enough to be a team to say we're up 3-2. We just won 2 straight. Let's go get 3 straight. I mean, Minnesota showed that they grew up a little bit, even though they gave up game 1. They was beating Gold State in game 2 before Curry got hurt. But they didn't say, "Oh man, we got the series tied at 1. Curry's not playing. Let's play down to our level." They didn't do that. They said, "Nah, let's go get 3 straight wins." And they went and got 3 straight. They really got 4 straight wins, but I'm just saying they started game 2 with Curry as an opponent. They lost Curry in the first half or second half or whatever. So preparing for the next 3 games, they could have easily been, a shell of themselves and going through the motions because they think that they can easily beat this team without Curry, but they didn't. They showed up seriously, ready to go, and got 3 straight wins and convincing wins as well. That's how you not play with your food, right? So OKC came out here and they wasn't in emergency mode. They wasn't urgent enough. They didn't want it bad enough. You can't have a team want it more than you. If you commit to doubling Shea when he attacks from the perimeter, OKC's offense is stagnant down the stretch. Shea needs to operate in the post way more often. I agree 100%. Same thing with Shea and Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards as well. He does it as well. Really, I mean, Tatum, he does it as well. Like, it's a contagious sickness in the NBA where your best player at the top of the key just trying to make things happen one-on-one or in ISO, basically just off dribble drive. And if I can't get the dribble drive, I step back for a 3. I mean, that's basically what everyone's running. Get your best player the ball, everybody spread. I'm gonna try to use a screen to get an advantage, but if not, ISO ball one-on-one. And if I can't get around you to get to the hole, I just step back for a 3. I mean, that's everybody's stuff. It's really bad. It's really bad. So people forget that they can go post up. Like, it's almost like they forget, like, oh, I need a bucket. And they've been playing like this for so long because it's been such a popular style in the NBA. They just forget. And I've been like that before. Like I got wrinkles to my game that I haven't used because something else was working so well, and that's all I was using. And then when I need to use it, I mean, it's almost like you forget you can do that. Like, oh man, I mean, I could have been using my running this whole time. Why was I trying to get all the way to the rim? Like you forget, man. You get out of rhythm and stuff like that, man. So muscle memory kick in, especially when it's the heat of the battle and you need a shot or you need a bucket. Your brain usually just it kind of shut off and you go off muscle memory. So what you've been doing the most is what you go for, or this is what I'm gonna do, right? So I would love to see SGA when he need a bucket go straight in the post, especially when they got that 3 high and 2 low zone they playing, that 3-2 zone they playing. I go straight to the post and dominate down there, man. Kobe would do it. MJ would do it for sure. Trevon said Denver winning this. Well, it's a possibility. It's 50-50 chance for sure. Joker defeated my apprentice Darth Vader, Kawhi Leonard. Nuggets in 7. Shea needs to get off the ball more and stop trying to create everything. Oh yeah, I agree. He need to come off the ball some. I mean, but also at the end of the day, he had a good game today, right? He gave him 30 plus. He didn't force a lot. He was getting beat up a little bit, but he hit the ground a lot. But it is what it is. AG is injured. Aaron Gordon looked like he did pull up within the final minutes of the game, and he was grabbing the back of his leg like he might have tweaked his ham. But he's gonna play, So and he didn't give you much tonight anyway. So if you can get your bench to show up like that again, Westbrook didn't do a lot, but he was instrumental late in the fourth. Strawther was big in the third. Watson was big defensively, right? So if they can get that bench to show up again, and who knows, maybe they go one more player deep in game 7. Maybe it's one more person that can get some playing time like Strawther did. Maybe you can get something from DeAndre Jordan, Dario Saric. Who knows? So we'll see. They should release MPG now. Freaking useless. Strawther was good. Russ is in front. Is a front runner. Get really tight when they're down. I don't know if you release Michael Porter Jr. just for getting hurt. He don't have his stuff because he dove for a ball in game 1 and damaged his rotator cuff on his left arm. And even though that's not his shooting arm, it's really hard to shoot without raising your offhand. Because you got your guide hand got to help guide the ball all the way up before you actually shoot it. So if he can't raise his left arm, that's really gonna affect a lot, in the shot, man. So he's out there giving it the old college trying, knowing that scoring is not the only thing you can do to help your team. And I think that's what is kind of wrong with the new era of basketball. Even the commentators fall for that trap because they was looking at the statistics for OKC, and it was like SGA needs help, all because Jalen Williams was having a bad shooting night. That don't mean he need help. He has help. He's got a good player beside him. His shot is not falling tonight. That doesn't mean it's dark and hell is hot. Well, hell is hot though, but it doesn't mean doom and gloom and we should pout about it. You could still do other things to win. We seen in the finals, Kobe Bryant, as the best player on the team, had a horrible shooting night, but he went and got 15, 16 rebounds that night and they won. He played great defense and got 15 or 16 rebounds and they won. Right? Jalen Williams had 10 assists and 9 rebounds tonight. Let me see if I'm correct on that. Jalen Williams had 7 rebounds, 10 assists tonight. He's helping. His shot is just not falling. Basketball is more than just your shot. So we get sport, like stats is just destroying us. And Michael Porter Jr. was out there. He made some big plays. He hit a big clutch 3 down the stretch. He didn't hit a lot of shots, but the 3 he did hit was clutch. I think it gave them the lead. He hit the 3. So out there with one arm being 4 for 9, 2 for 5 behind the arc. He's trying. He's not turning the ball over. He had 1 turnover. I like. Why? What do you mean cut him? He's trying. I seen the stat line. It was a game the Bulls was in. I don't know if it was just the playoffs or it was the finals. It might have been the finals. And as a matter of fact, I screenshotted it. It was so diabolical. I screenshotted it. Man, I hope I still got this stat line. But they had the stats for Ron Harper, Scottie Pippen, and Steve Kerr for the whole playoffs. And it was horrible. Like, they were shooting horrible, right? But you still got to get it done. You still got to get it done. You still got an opportunity to stop the other team from scoring. and rebounding and doing all those things just because your shot not, but like they're supposed to happen. Your shot, it's supposed to get to a point where your shot is not falling. That's supposed to happen. Okay, now what are you going to do? Your shot's not falling. What now? What are you going to do? Can you get to the free throw line? Can you rebound? Can you stop your man from scoring? What else can you do for me? Right? I mean, I just don't understand why we just reduce basketball just to whatever your stat line looks like as far as scoring. No, I disagree with that. That he needs to be cut ASAP and replace him with who? Strother? Dale, let me know who would you replace Michael Porter Jr. with after you cut him? Because last time I checked, Denver Nuggets fans told me that the reason why they're not a contender anymore is because they lost Caldwell Pope and Bruce Brown. And if you put both those players together, Michael Porter Jr. is still better than them. So if this team can't get it done no more because they lost Caldwell Pope and Bruce Brown, what you think will happen when they lose Michael Porter Jr., the starter? What happens when you lose Michael Porter Jr. if this team fell apart because of Bruce Brown and Caldwell Pope? Let me know that, Denver fans. Can y'all afford to lose Michael Porter Jr.? We all say that there's no help for Jokic in Denver, and everybody's got to go wholesale. Everything must go. None of them made All-Star, so they must go. Bye-bye Jamal Murray, bye-bye Michael Porter Jr., bye-bye Aaron Gordon. Who go play defense for y'all? Because y'all still playing zone to hide Jokic, right? The entire team got to help Jokic defend, correct? I don't think people be actually thinking about basketball when they be saying some of these things and throwing these ideas out there. I really think that most people don't watch the game. I think most people just pull the stats up on Google after the game. And I think if I was to ask most people, is player A better than player B? And I think the first thing you'll do is Google the stats to tell. You might even use a calculator because that's what they're doing now with analytics. I've never seen a scout at a high school game looking for talent for his college with a calculator in his hand or a stat book. Nor have he ever asked for the stat book. When a scout go and watch a player play that he wants to recruit to his program, only thing he's doing is watching the game and taking notes. I've never seen one just blindfold themselves, don't watch the game, and then after the game go straight and grab the stat book and be like, I can look at this stat book and tell who the better player is and who I need for my program. All right, here go the stat line. Oh man, I just found it. I wish y'all can see that, right? Oh shoot, let me see. All right, so y'all see that, right? So this was the 96 finals, right? Steve Kerr was averaging 4.6 points, and he was, now remember, this is Steve Kerr. Let y'all tell it, one of the best 3-point shooters ever. He was getting 20 minutes a game, averaging 4.6 points, and he was 3 for 20 behind the arc in the finals, right? Then Scottie Pippen, the second best player, his shooting percentage was 32% in the 96 finals, and he averaged 15 points, and he was 6 for 32 behind the arc. Ron Harper, the starting point guard, had 15 points in game 1, 12 points in game 2, 0 points in game 3, 2 points in game 4, and 0 points in game 5. So these was the stats that popped up on screen in game 6, the game that he closed it out against who was it in 96? Was it the Supersonics or was it Utah? It was Sonics game 96. Oh no, Sonics 95, Utah 96, Utah 97. Is that what it was? So this was the Utah series, right? The game 6. These are the stats that popped on the screen in game 6. So far, after 5 games, you had 2 games where Ron Harper didn't score, 1 game where he scored 2 points, and a 15 and a 12 point game in game 1 and 2. Pippen was shooting 32% from the field, averaging 15 points and 6 of 32 from the three. And that 3-point shooter that they rely on for 3-point shots was 3 for 20, Steve Kerr. So that was the stat line. When I seen that pop up on the screen, because I was watching the old final series, and when I seen that pop on the screen, I was like, boy, these people be talking about help. Like, they don't understand, like, if your shot not falling, make sure you playing defense. Like, you supposed to play defense. Right? You have to play freaking defense, man. George Truth Hurts, man. Thanks for the $5 super chat. SGA lack on defense, and Jay Will lack on offense, lost the game. Sure. You can say that. You can say that. They made a lot of mistakes too as well, and you got to give Denver credit. They came to play, and I think they wanted it more than OKC wanted it, right? So, but it ain't always got to be a finger point or a blame game. Like, this stuff's supposed to happen. Yeah, like you supposed to have bad shooting nights are normal. It's okay, but it's okay. The only time people make a big deal out of a bad shooting night is when the mythology of the player that's having a bad shooting night is that he's just never off. Like this dude is Superman. Like when Superman, when you tell me somebody is just unreal and he's a top 10 player of all time and all this stuff, when you hear stuff like that, okay, yeah, you can get critiqued for not having a big game in the big moment. Yeah, sure, we go. Like, if SGA was shooting as horrible as Will was, then he would get critiqued heavier. If Jokic was doing it as well, shooting bad, like those two bad shooting nights that Jokic had, he got a lot of critique, right? But just those two players. If the help having a bad shooting night, okay, whatever. Let them live. Can they help any kind of way? Because the formula before all of a sudden these players needed all this help, the formula before that is the superstar that's getting paid all the money, that's getting all the hype, that's winning the MVPs. That guy better show up every night as far as scoring. He has to show up every night as far as scoring, because we're relying on him for points, right? Everybody had that one guy. Michael Jordan was it for the Bulls. He has to be on, right? If he's off, then hopefully Scottie Pippen got an on night, or maybe somebody else, or maybe as a team collectively we can get it done. But defense has to be played. That's got to be part of the equation. For San Antonio, it was David Robinson before Tim Duncan showed up. For New York, it was Patrick Ewing. For Indiana, it was Reggie Miller, right? Wherever Glenn Rice was at, he was the guy, whether it was Charlotte or Miami. Mitch Richmond, when he was the guy in Sacramento, he had to show up, even though he never make it to the playoffs. When Shaq was playing, that was Shaq. When Kobe was playing, that was Kobe. Like, you got it. You have to get it done, right? These additionals, if they get it done, great. If they help you with the points, they're here to make sure, number one, they're not a weak link on defense. They get that done and they play their role. You got a superstar, and he may have a co-star that can provide points, but at the end of the day, the superstar, I'm counting on you to get 25, 30, right? Co-star, just make sure you support. 15 is fine. Scottie Pippen gave Jordan 15 points in the finals, 15 points a game off horrible shooting, but he tried to get it done and he played defense, left everything out there on the court. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm not a big finger pointer when it comes to the others and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's good to mention it. If Jay Will would have showed up and had a better shooting night, they got a better chance at winning for sure. So he already knows that. Like, nobody has to point a finger at him and say, "Oh, it's your fault." He knows as soon as that buzzer sounded and he walked into the locker room, he knew, man, I let my dude down, man. I was supposed to be here to give him more than what I gave him, right? So he'll be thinking about that into Sunday, right? So I'm gonna move on. I got a topic for y'all. Right. I got a topic for y'all. Let me see if I can. There we go. I got a topic for y'all. So it was announced that Michael Jordan is going to be a contributor with NBC this upcoming season in 2025, and they haven't really specified how he's going to contribute, right? If I'm guessing, knowing how MJ is and knowing how he loves basketball and he loves breaking things down and stuff like that, I'm thinking it'll be probably something similar to what Kobe Bryant was doing with ESPN with the Kobe detail, right? That's just my guess. I have no knowledge on that at all. That's just a guess that it might be something along those lines, right? It might be maybe breaking down some game film. I just can't imagine him calling a game or sideline reporting or doing interviews. Like, he's not gonna do that. He'll rather be on the golf course, right? So it might be something that he can do from the privacy of his own home, and he can send the footage in and they can air it whenever they want to, just like Kobe did with detail. We don't know what Kobe was at when he did detail. We just know it was amazing, and people has tried to copy it and do it, and nobody wants to watch it. Like, everyone's tried to do it. Even Dennis Rodman tried to break down the triangle offense while doing detail. It's nothing like when Kobe did it. And I think it would be very similar, if not better, if Michael Jordan broke down some stuff like that. Like, maybe after a game like tonight, he can break down where he could have seen some other opportunities that SGA could have had or took advantage of to get, I guess, a better outcome for for some of these possessions. That's what Kobe was doing. And I remember when Jason Tatum said when Kobe broke his game film down on detail, it was like it just made his day. It made his day, man. So imagine if the GOAT is breaking down your film. Like right now, SGA, he breaking it down. Or if Jokic would have lost, he breaking down Jokic, saying, I would have liked to see Jokic do X, Y, and Z. I would rather Hakeem do it for the big men, right? But for the wing players, I want to see MJ. I want to see MJ break them down. It'd be dope if MJ just got Hakeem and was like, "Hey man, let's I do the guard." I hope somebody see this and MJ see it and he be like, "That's a good idea." But him and Hakeem, right? Hakeem break it down, or could be Kareem, or it could be Tim Duncan. Any of these big men that we hold up here, not Shaq, because all he can do is, take his head off, dunk it, be strong. You got to give him 50. You got to give him 50. No, that's not enough. I'm real Superman. All that stuff. Like, you can't teach Shaq. You can't teach what Shaq did to nobody, really, unless he's also 7'1" and 330 pounds and can move like Shaq. Like, other than that, what do you go teach him? That offhand hook, the inside hook, he throw the hook this way with the inside hand. What do you go teach that? No. What else he got? A up and under and a dunk? No, we don't want to learn that. I want to see Duncan break down some big man film. I want to see Hakeem break down some big man film and defense, or Kareem. And for the wing players, I want to see Michael Jordan, right? For the guards, the lead guards, the point guards, I want to see Isaiah. Well, Isaiah will be lying too much. He got an agenda. I want to see, I don't know. Maybe we can get somebody older. It would be nice if it was Isaiah, though, for sure. Maybe Magic, but maybe Magic. Maybe Magic. So imagine if MJ and Magic is breaking down some film, or MJ and freaking Duncan, or MJ and Hakeem. That'd be dope. Oh yeah, Stockton. Yeah, for sure, Stockton. Yes. John Stockton. We have Stockton in there breaking it down. Guys who did it at a high level, guys who did it at a high level for a long time, guys who know what it takes. I mean, like, these are Iron Men. Like, Michael, you know how many times Michael Jordan and John Stockton played 82 games in the season? It's unreal. It's unreal, right? So let's get to how this is supposed to be, because this is turning into a little competition, right? Right. So with the new CBA and the new deal, the new mid-year deal that the NBA did with everyone, it includes Amazon. So Amazon Prime and Peacock, they have a portion of this deal. So Amazon would get games on their platforms. They get it on Prime, they get it on Peacock, and all of that stuff, right? So they're part of the deal. Also ESPN, which is Disney, right? So ESPN is part of it, and NBC, right? So these are the people that's part of the deal. But they all in a little bit of a competition, right? So let's talk about what ESPN did. So ESPN, they bought the rights to the TNT show with Kenny, Ernie, Shaq, and Charles Barkley, right? So that show belongs to ESPN now. So now ESPN employs Charles Barkley, which he hates ESPN, right? So he talks about ESPN so much he hates them, right? Now they're his boss. So that show belongs to him. But oddly enough, the TNT producer, people that produced and work for Turner Sports, they still are attached to the show, so they are still going to produce it. Or TNT still produces the show. So I don't know how that works, right? So but yeah, so they'll be part of ESPN. So ESPN, when they first announced that, they probably felt like, oh man, like we're doing it big. This is the hottest show in basketball, in NBA, right? NBA on TNT is the hottest show. Now we got it. We got Barkley, we got Shaq, we got Kenneth, we got that. So hey, I don't know if NBC can top that. I don't know if Amazon can top that. They can't mess with us, right? So that's their big thing, right? They got inside the NBA, and of course they got all the other ESPN characters, Stephen A, Shannon Sharp, if he ever gets his job back, freaking Kendrick Perkins, all these dudes. They got all these players that they can use to call games and do whatever they need to do. So they got a whole host of people. They are the worldwide not worldwide leader. They are the worldwide liar in sports, right? That's what I call them, right? So they think they got an all-star squad, which it looks like that, right? And then you see what Peacock did, or Amazon or Prime or whatever they did, right? So Amazon, they're going to own the NBA Cup, which I don't know if people watched it. So Amazon, they're gonna get the tournament at the beginning of the season. They're gonna get the preseason, or what do they call it? The Emirates tournament, the in-season tournament. That belongs to Amazon. So they will air those games. They got a special Black Friday game. So I don't know if that's gonna be a big game like it's like football on Thanksgiving or basketball on Christmas. I don't know if that Black Friday game is like a big deal, but that's part of their package they got. So they got the NBA Cup, Black Friday, and I think they get a couple of games as well. I don't know which games they're going to get, but their squad consists of, I think they got, and we're talking about Amazon. They got, if I remember correctly, Amazon has Candace Parker, Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Blake Griffin, Taylor Rooks, and they also got Steve Nash and Stan Van Gundy, right? So those are their analysts and their studio anchors that they're going to be utilizing. I guess that's sexy, I don't know. I mean, Taylor Rooks, Candace Parker, they trying to kind of be like ESPN. They got some eye candy, some ladies and stuff like that, and then they went and got some former basketball players, Dirk, Blake, Steve Nash, and a coach in Van Gundy. I don't know who wants to hear them talk. Like I'm not enjoying Steve Nash with LeBron James on Mind the Game. I don't know if I want to hear him talk about the game, especially if he's contaminated by Clutch Sports and he's gonna be out there capping. That's not gonna be good, right? D Wade is too concerned about painting his nails and representing for a community that got nothing to do with basketball, right? He's too busy doing that. So I don't know how much I'm gonna like that. Blake Griffin is comedy gold sometimes. He's a comedian, but I've never heard him call no game. I don't know how that. Dirk, that's gonna be interesting. right? But Candace Parker and D Wade, they're the most polished of the and Stan Van Gundy, because they've been doing it for years. They've been doing it for a while, so they might can hold it down. So that's cool. TNT is going to ESPN, the NBA on TV. That's a big deal. Amazon, I think they got the weakest package, right? They get the Emirates tournament. D Wade, Candace Parker, Dirk, Blake, Steve Nash, Van Gundy, Taylor Rooks. I think that's a little mid. And then NBC, who had the NBA for years, they bringing back the GOAT, all the nostalgia from the 90s. And they even bringing a song out of retirement. They bringing that song back out. Man, you know what it feels like to hear that song on Saturday or Sunday during a game or play. Oh my goodness. NBC knows how to do the NBA. Trust me. That's probably why when they tried to get back in after they lost the contract with the NBA, and they tried to get back in, there was nothing Turner could do. There was nothing they could do to keep it. They was play pimping. The offer came in and they thought they was gonna get a chance to match it, I guess, and they was like, "Nah, we out." they thought they was play pimping, right? NBC is bringing the GOAT back. That's enough already, right? But not only is he bringing back the GOAT, I think they're gonna have Jamal Crawford. I don't know if y'all seen Jamal Crawford in action when he either call games or he's sitting in the studio. Jamal Crawford is good, right? Jamal Crawford is good, right? So Mike Tirico, oldie but good. I don't know who Noah Eagle is, right? They're using an AI generated version of Jim Fagan, which was the guy who was big on NBC back in the day. They got permission from his family to use his AI generated voice to be included with bringing back that song that we love so much. And then you got the freaking GOAT, and most of the games are gonna be on NBC, so they got like the bigger piece of the pie as far as the games, right? So Michael Jordan, special contributor, we don't know yet. Carmelo Anthony will be an analyst in the studio, right? So you got Jamal Crawford, Carmelo, the GOAT, Reggie Miller, right? Jim Fagan. Like, this is insane. NBC won it, right? NBC won it. So this is what I want to do for y'all, right? Just to kind of tell you why I think Michael Jordan giving us any type of talk, any type of basketball talk is gonna be dope. Number one, if you heard Kobe do Kobe detail, I mean, he learned from Michael Jordan and Phil, right? He said Michael Jordan gave him most of the advice that he got, I mean, he got advice from the Laker greats as well, Jerry West and Magic. He talked to them a lot, and he even talked to Bill Russell, even though he was a Celtic. So Kobe didn't care who he got advice from and talked to, but he said the person he called the most was Michael Jordan, right? He said he owed a lot to Mike, right? So and that's why he talked like Mike, act like Mike, chew gum like Mike, walk like Mike, play like Mike, all this stuff, man. So when you see Kobe, it's almost like seeing Mike's little brother. So if people were going to that Mamba Academy blown away, and most of them dudes that went to the females, WNBA females that went to that Mamba Academy got better just by what he was teaching them. And it wasn't like bag work and all this stuff. Like they said, like Kyrie said, he would have them watching film, taught them how to watch film, break down film, and then he was teaching them the final points of the game. I mean, the Mamba Academy was about to be huge, right? So I'm hoping Michael Jordan is doing something like that. But I just want to get y'all in the mood of how Michael Jordan talks, right? And I found this interview where it was the last year of the second three-peat. It was 97. And they had to sit down, I think, before the season or during the season. And it was Phil, Scotty, and it was Michael Jordan. Phil, Scotty, Mike. And they were getting interviewed, and I think it was NBC. I think it was an interview on NBC. But anyway, They was asked a lot of questions, and they kind of like went in a gradual order, starting from like the beginning of when Phil showed up, right? So he asked the question, what was the Bulls missing when you showed up, Phil? And then like Phil would answer the question, Mike would go, Scottie Pippen would go, right? I want you to hear how Phil and Mike talk about the game, and let me know if you feel educated when you're hearing them speak about it. And then, it's a long clip, so I'll stop it halfway and we'll have a conversation. And I open the phone lines up for this as well. But I want y'all to listen to Mike.
It got us to a point, I think with the talent that we had on this team and how we were progressing, even when he was a head coach, we were moving in that direction. I think what happened when Phil came on, he gave us a system, to work within. That's when the triangle basically evolved. Up to that point, it was a lot of individual talent, and Doug seemed to utilize that and to get to the level that we were. Could we have won it with Doug? Yeah, I think we can sit here and debate that all the time, but I feel that the change was made and we made the best of it.
Let's just say this way: Doug gave great intensity to the team. Great work. I mean, guys came and worked real hard every day, and they learned that work ethic that's really important to win.
I think
that really helped.
I think he really made a mark on myself and a guy like Horace, who were young players, because he used his intensity night in and night out to push us and get the best out of us while we were still young players. Phil.
So first of all, when they asked that question about Doug Collins and basically was saying why y'all couldn't win with Doug, right? And when Mike started talking and answered the question, and then he said at the end, could we have won with Doug? I mean, we can debate that all the time. I wish you got to go to the video, because when he said that, Phil Jackson giggled like, y'all weren't about to win nothing with Doug Collins. Phil Jackson giggled. I thought that was funny, but I kind of take like the way they're explaining it. Doug Collins was a kind of a player's coach. I mean, him and MJ was kind of tight, and you hear how Pippen saying it, like, man, the way he dealt with him and Horace Grant, they were so young. It was almost like Doug Collins was needed for part of their maturing, and like he was needed before Phil showed up and did the rest. And kind of the same thing what Mark Jackson did. Like the confidence that Mark Jackson instilled in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, calling them the greatest shooters the NBA has seen before the world knew that they was the greatest shooters the NBA has seen. Like, having that type of confidence in it, giving them the green light, letting them play a little bit loose and stuff like that. It was perfect. He built them up, built their confidence up. I mean, of course, he couldn't finish the job. He got fired, and Steve Kerr came in. And I think it was perfect timing for Steve Kerr for where they were at. It seemed like that was kind of how it was with Doug Collins and Phil Jackson's swap out, right? But most importantly, how they describe, or what he's about to ask Phil now, how they describe what changed when he got there.
You took over. When you did take over this ball club, what did you feel was missing?
Well, it's really obvious what was missing. What was missing was a well-rounded offense, because we had so many offensive things that ended up with Michael having to do it. We were trying to run a point guard offense, but ultimately we didn't have a point guard. John Paxson was not a point guard, because ultimately they could put an Isaiah Thomas on him. They could put someone with quicker speed. We tried different types of point guards. And ultimately, when we got to Detroit, we had to put Michael at point guard, because he's the only one that could really bring the ball up the floor. Well, the concept of a system offense is that you have varieties of people that can bring the ball up the court. And we saw Scottie as potentially a person that could be the lead guard in this team, relieving Michael the pressure of doing that. That was what was ultimately the difference 2 years later, when we were able to withstand that kind of pressure you get in big-time series.
So that was big. So he's giving you the rundown, right? So when you hear people have these conversations about Mike couldn't do this, Mike couldn't pass well, and all of this stuff, man, you got to kind of go back and study the history of the thing and like to know that that's all cap. Also, what you also got to know is when he asked him what was missing, he said a well-balanced offense was missing. He said with Doug, Michael Jordan was doing everything, and which is true. He did have a stretch where he was tried out at point guard, where he averaged almost a triple-double, and his numbers was amazing. He was well above 30 points a game and close to 10 assists and close to 10 rebounds. Like he was doing it all, but that's not winning basketball, right? So if it's not good enough for the greatest player we ever seen play, and if Phil Jackson had to come in and show them a better way where it's more well balanced and it's not one guy doing everything, you know, if that was good for the GOAT, it's got to be good for people like LeBron and Westbrook when he was doing it, and Harden, and now Jokic and Luka. Like, someone has to be smart enough in the NBA that's dealing with these players to say, that's not winning basketball. You have to stop playing like that. I know your numbers are outstanding. I know you're getting MVPs by playing like that. I mean, Harden has got an MVP, and he was in his prime. He was in the MVP discussion for like 3 straight years playing that style. Westbrook got an MVP like that, and he could have been in the MVP discussion for longer if he didn't start making it obvious that he was padding his stats. People just got tired of voting for him, right? Luka supposed to be in the MVP discussion every year, but his team is never playing good enough for him to stay in there. He's always the preseason favorite to win it because they know he's going to have these triple-double stats because he's doing everything for his team. And Jokic have won 3 MVPs, and his fans want him to have his 5th this year. They wanted him to win the year before last when Embiid won. So they want him to have 5 straight MVPs, all because of the triple-double stat, when people like Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson, and Scottie Pippen will tell you that that play style is bad basketball. It gets you stats, but it don't get you the rings that you want, right? Jokic was able to get 1 ring like that. And it's very hard for him to even get back to the conference finals, where to the point where we're blaming Bruce Brown for the collapse of the Denver Nuggets. The loss of Bruce Brown is the reason why the Nuggets ain't been back to the finals. KCP, Caldwell Pope, and Bruce Brown is the reason why the Denver Nuggets ain't in the championship every year. Let that sink in. That should tell you are playing a flawed basketball system if losing a role player and a player off the bench takes you out of contention, right? So what's up, man? I appreciate you, brother. So Phil Jackson is explaining how Michael Jordan was doing everything at first, and then when he got there, they wanted to put in a more balanced offense, but they was having trouble figuring out who was going to, because he said they tried to run the point guard offense when he first got there, but they didn't have no real point guards that can handle the pressure that playoff teams like Detroit was giving him. They said Paxson wasn't the type of point guard that could do that. Paxson wasn't a Mark Price or anything like that, you know what I mean, or a Stockton, right? So he was a fine player. He was a good shooter, and he played defense, and he was hard nosed. He was tough, but he wasn't really a point guard like that, right? So he said that we had to get the ball to MJ, and this is the dude we're relying on for points, and I got to rely on him to bring the ball up. It's not really good, and people like Phil Jackson know it's not really good for my number 1 scorer to be the guy that's running my offense. That's just not good. That's not balanced. Everything in life is supposed to be balanced. So why would we have an imbalance in basketball and think that's going to be the winning formula? So he knows balance is very important, and he knew that I got to get Michael Jordan off the ball.
But the triangle offense, the Zen philosophy, all that stuff, how quickly did you guys buy into it?
It took a while. It took at least 3 years before we fully understood
3
the system.
years.
And, Phil was very patient, as well as Tex, who implemented it all together and came up with the concept. And just took some time for us to connect and understand that, you know, each other as a team and act instinctively instead of always knowing exactly a certain play. Systematically, we started to read each other and made it tougher for defense to try to defend.
Let me ask you about the last time you played the Pistons. It was your 3rd year in a row. Again, it's an Eastern Conference Finals. This time, it goes to 7 excruciating games.
Well, in the Philadelphia series, which was about 3 weeks before then, Scotty's father had passed away, and he had gone and left the team. We'd had to rally around the big game on Mother's Day, but he came back for the Tuesday game in that series, and we got around Scotty because, you know, he had been apart from us for about 4 or 5 days, gone through a traumatic thing. And, you know, we felt like, you know, this is a guy that, you know, really needed some support in our system, at least, and what we wanted to do. And that's why we did that type of a thing. But, you know, it just doesn't go away. Losing a family member as important as your father doesn't go away in one gathering or a funeral ceremony or whatever else. As we all know, it takes a year or a long process for those things to disappear.
When you lost that game, what was your thought process? What were you thinking? I mean, because you had been to that step again.
Well, Jerry Krause came through the door after we had a meeting, and I think kind of took the edge out. He was, in his own way, kind of mad, but it was kind of intense in a way that is only Jerry Krause can do.
Right.
And so we all kind of just put it to bed, and we said, we were really disappointed in ourselves. Jerry was kind of mad at us for what had happened, but we knew there's nothing to be mad about. We just weren't grown up enough to go through that series against a team that'd been through, an Eastern Finals, 2 championships, World Championships, and they were still a little bit better than us in the subtleties and the intensity of the game. We weren't quite mature enough.
They were mentally, I felt they were tough because they've been together for so long, and they've made the progress that we were making. But after we lost that last game, it was a sense of determination that it wouldn't happen again. Last time, the next time we get that opportunity, we certainly were going to prove ourselves as a team. And amongst that, Scottie Pippen's headache and all that, it was unfair treatment to him.
Yes.
And as you know, a lot of times when the expectations are so high and you don't live up to it, they look for reasons why you never achieved that. And he was the target at the time. And we, as Phil said, surrounded and supported Scottie because he helped us get to that point. And it was unfortunate that he was put in that predicament to accept the blame. And we all were to blame in not finishing the game and not living up to the expectations.
Yeah.
So you hear Michael Jordan take accountability for the loss to Detroit the last year before they actually beat them. And that was the year Scottie had the migraine and had to come out of the game. What I did not know is that he lost his father just before that series, right? I didn't know that, right? So this man out there playing with a very heavy heart, and wherever that migraine came from, this man must have been stressed the hell out, man. And like people blame Pippen for that. People still blame Pippen for that. Oh man, you didn't help Michael Jordan out. He played with the flu, but you couldn't play with the migraine. And you hear how Michael Jordan's taken up for him even back then. Like that was unfair for people to come after Scottie Pippen like that, man. We all lost that game. That was on us as a team, and I like that, right? But also Phil Jackson was talking about how they wasn't ready yet, they weren't mature yet. Detroit was a better team, and they still had some things that they learned along the way of being a contender for so long and winning rings and stuff like that. It's things as a team that they had, little nuances that we haven't developed yet. So we're still building, which is also something I wanted to point out. Right. Also something I wanted to point out because and before I point that out, I want to address this on screen. I do agree when it comes to Denver about the same time. Right. First of all, he's addressing what I'm saying. Denver plays a flawed offense whenever they are relying on Jokic to be their point guard or their point forward or their point center. It's just bad basketball, and it's very hard for him to win that way. That's why it looks like he always needs help. Right. The person who's trying to do everything always look like he need help, because when you're trying to do everything, everyone has to sit back, and whenever you fail, they have to pick up your pieces and help you. Versus if we all, you get what I'm saying? Like imagine if we all trying to lift of something very heavy, it takes 4 men to lift, right? It'd be very easy if we just lift it and then take it to where we got to take it. But if one guy is saying, nah, I'm gonna lift all of this because I want the credit for moving this, but then when his legs start shaking and he start buckling, now he wants us to come over there and help him grab it. But it don't work like that all the time, right? That's just not a good formula. Why would I sit back and watch you do everything, and then when I see you struggling, oh, now I need to help? You get what I'm saying? That's how people expect Jokic in Denver to do. They expect Jokic to get triple double stats, all that the yin yang, 40 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. They want to see those numbers, but then when they be like, okay, well, if Jokic doing everything, what is guy number 4 doing? I mean, we know Jamal Murray go get his, but if Jokic is doing everything, if Jokic is always got the ball, if he's running the point, if he's posting up, if he's the one distributing the ball, and he's also taking most of the shots, what the hell is everybody else doing? What is the point guard doing most of the time? When Jokic is running point, what is my point guard doing? Oh, he got to play off ball and be a shooter. Okay, cool. All right, well, what is MPJ doing? Can he get the ball sometime and go one-on-one? Or can MPJ post up? Like, when does he post up? Nah, you only shoot, because if you're not over there at the three-point line shooting the daggone nets off the rim, no one's going to guard you, and then they're going to double Jokic. So we need you to be a shooter at all times. We don't really want you to do anything else. Just be there and be a decoy for a shooter, because we need all this space in the middle for Jokic to operate without a double team. Right? That's their offense. Aaron Gordon, a power forward, had to learn how to shoot like a shooting guard. All for that offense. Right? So it's very flawed. It's very flawed. But let's get to Phil Jackson talking about how the team has to, kind of develop, right? And how Detroit was already at their development where they maxed out on development, and they was just, cruising, right? Well, the Bulls was on the trajectory on the way up, right? So the way I look at it, if y'all ever played King of the Hill, is one person at the top of the hill, and everyone else's job is to get at the top of the hill and try to pull them off so they can be the king of the hill. That's how I look at NBA competition when it comes to teams. Like, these teams come in the league and they start forming them together. Like, they get a star. Okay, this is a star player. He needs help. Get him a co-star. All right, got a co-star. Let's get the right coach for him. Got the right coach for him. Now let's surround them with role players. Let's give them an identity. And then once they build chemistry and learn how to win, they climbing that ladder. They get to the top of the hill. Who's ever at the top of the hill, take them down. And now you're at the top. Now, how long can you stay on top? That's the job. So when teams are doing this, trying to learn how to win and doing all that stuff, a lot of times they get knocked down. They get to the top of the hill, try to take them down, get knocked down. But every time you come back, you get a little bit better, a little bit stronger, right? Once you get to the top of that hill, now what are you going to do to stay up there? That's important. That's when we judge you, right? We judge you on that journey up, and then once you get there, we judge you on how you stay there, right? So I got a graphic for y'all, and this is called Tuckman's. This is his thought process on team building or group building, right? And it's called forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjoining, right? Forget the adjoining part right there. That's like the end of the season. But every team, and since we're using the example for basketball, this is the beginning of the season when you're forming, right? So this happens every year because the teams always get new players. They lose players. You get a couple of new coaches. Like, things are changing. Your core might be the same, but you're getting new people that you got to implement into what y'all do. If something's already established, so you're still forming at the beginning of the season every year, but you're also forming when you're a new team that's trying to become a contender. So if I take the Bulls for example, they're forming once they draft Michael Jordan, because now they know they got a generational talent, and now we have to build a team around them, right? So you got Michael Jordan, and what do you do? He come in and he finds out really quick, man, there's some coke heads over there in the locker room, some alcoholics, some drunks, some old dudes that need to retire, some people that don't know how to win, and they start weeding people out that don't need to be there, right? This is when you're forming your team. This is when you're forming. Then you start drafting people that can fit with them. Oh, here's Horace, here's Scotty. Now let's go and get Bill Cartwright from wherever he came from. I can't remember. Out of Seattle, I don't know where he was playing. Bill Cartwright is a veteran. Doug Collins, we found out he's not the coach for him. Let's bring Phil Jackson in and give him an opportunity. So you're forming, right? So once you get all the pieces together, you got Mike, you got Scotty, you got Phil, you got Horace, you got Cartwright, you got Paxson, you got who else they had? Scotty Hobson, Craig Hodges. You get all these dudes. Now we got a team. We got to form it together. This is what happens at the beginning of the season. You're forming. This is when you learn everybody's tendencies. This is when you find out, oh, Michael Jordan he's a beast in the gym. He works out. You start finding out, or you find out somebody's lazy. So now I got to pull them around, right? So all of that start forming up. Every team, when they're forming, after that has to go through a storming stage. That's when sparks are flying. That's when the arguments are there. That's because, oh, I found out this dude is lazy, and I told him to meet me at this gym at 6 and he didn't show up. Now I'm pissed. We're going off. It might be a couple of fights. Somebody might have to get put off the team. This was when you're storming. You have to go through this process of storming. You have to go through it, right? Because once you get past that storming part, everything gets normal. And that's what we call norming. Now you're operating. Now we can work together. There's no more tension. We worked all of that out. Right. Right. And then you get to the point where you're performing. Right. So that's the process of every team, but also that's what's going on behind the closed doors and the locker rooms and stuff like that as a team. But you're also doing it in the public eye when you're trying to win, right? Because when you're building a contender, you're going to fail in public, right? You're going to storm in public, right? So once you get to performing and this team is operating and clicking on all cylinders, you got to go put it to test. And you put it to test in the playoffs. All right, so we got a performing team. We think we got what it takes to beat the Pistons. Now we got to go out there and show the Pistons we can beat them. And every time they tried, the Pistons would knock them down. I think they lost 3 times in a row to the Pistons, maybe 4 times. Well, 3 times in a row for sure. Every time they think they performing and they go and test it against the Pistons show them not yet. And there's something admirable about a player and a team that every time they fail, they go back to the drawing board, figure out how to get better, and come back and try to pass that same test. That's very different from how LeBron James, when he was failing, because he got his teams to the performance stage. The Cleveland Cavs was performing. I mean, they got to the finals with what they had, so they was performing. All right, he had the team built around him like he liked it. It got past the storming phase, the norming phase, and they're performing. Right? What happens when you go to the test and you failing against Boston and you fail against Orlando and you fell against Boston again? You fell against Detroit. What are you gonna do then? Are you gonna keep coming back better the next year, or at some point you say, I'm going to Miami. I'm going to go to Miami and I'm going to go play with someone that's just as good as me. Well, actually 2 people that's just as good as me or on my level or just below my level in my prime. I'm going to take a shortcut because it's too long for me to try to get over the hump with trying to beat these dudes. I can't wait my turn. Like the Bulls had to either beat someone that was beating them or wait their turn. When it came to Larry Bird and the Celtics, they didn't get an opportunity to beat them like they beat Detroit, but they waited their turn. Boston is the king of the hill. Detroit took them down. We didn't get a chance to take Boston down, but we took Detroit down. Right? I want to see that. I want to see you get to the point where you can pull the team that's been beating you off the top of the king as king of the hill, or wait your turn. Don't take the shortcut and say, I need it now. Let me go form a super team. Right? That's my thing.
And when you got to the playoffs, Scotty, to face the Pistons once again in the playoffs for what, 4th year in a row, was it, that you'd faced the Pistons? 3rd time in the Eastern Conference Championship? I mean, what were your thought process going into that game?
Well, I had pretty much predicted that we were going to sweep them in that series. So
You did,
I had a
didn't
lot
you?
of confidence in our ball club at that time. I think we had really turned our season around completely from the last season. We've started to show a lot of maturity mentally and physically, and it was a great series for us to go in and have to face the Pistons and know that before we can get to the championship level, that we have to beat the basketball team.
It's almost like if you didn't get to beat the Pistons, you know what I mean? There might have been something missing from that championship.
Right. For the first 3 or 4 years that we faced this team, every time they would knock us out, I mean, it hurt us to go over there and shake their hand. We showed the sportsmanship that, to support them from the Eastern Conference to go on and be successful. And we just knew because of their personality and the way that they, their rivalry against us, that they weren't going to pay the same respects back. But they didn't have to, because we knew that we dominated the series and we knew we were over that hump and we didn't have any fear. We felt we were a superior team.
Okay, so you go to the Lakers series. Game 1, Chicago Stadium. People have been waiting for this for years, for 20-some years in Chicago Bulls history. Yeah. Sam Perkins hits a three-pointer at the end, and you're down 1-0, and you're about to join the '69 Cubs. What were you thinking then?
We were very nervous. First of all, it's the first time we made it to a final, and everyone was saying, well, you have to go to a final the first time to lose so you know how to win it the second time. And I guess when we had an opportunity to win the ball game in the first game, even though we didn't play our best basketball, we took a moral victory from that. And from that point forward, we felt we were better as a team, more mature as a team, and ready to accept the challenge. And I think we went back to the drawing board more or less and drew up our strategies and stuck right to it, and we never really had a problem after that.
I got to ask you, the lasting image, I don't care how many championships you guys win, will be of you with the cap on, the trophy embraced, and crying on the trophy. Can you give us your thoughts? What were you thinking then? What was that all about?
It was an unbelievable feeling. I've been here at the time, I was here for 8 years almost. And, the saying was the Chicago Bulls would never win with the scoring leader. Michael Jordan scored too many points, and, that there's no way that they would be able to win. And, it was gratifying to see that all, the so-called perfect critics who knew the game were totally wrong about me as a basketball player being able to adjust to a certain system, and yet still as a team, we could evolve and become a championship team in the city of Chicago. So, I mean, all those frustrations and those expectations that the fans or that the sports writers had about me as a person and about this organization was put to rest. And that was a gratifying feeling.
So you see it's a big difference. That's way different from forming a super team, right? That's totally different, right? So if we go back to that graphic, right? When you form a super team, the reason why it's a shortcut is because if you don't get to the part where you're storming and you get through that so you can start norming and performing, you can actually skip that because the team is so stacked. Like, you got 3 Michael Jordans on the team, right? Or at least 2 Michael Jordans and 1 Scottie Pippen. Like, the team is so stacked. You could be a bad locker room. You could the chemistry cannot be there. Like, you could not get through all these group building stages and still, like, that's what Miami did. Miami was not together that first year, and they still got to the finals. Remember, Miami started out, we thought they was gonna come out and just go 15, 16 straight wins the first part of the season, and it didn't happen like that. It came out and struggled. And then eventually they started playing a little bit better, and then they made it to the finals and they got exposed. They got exposed because they skipped at least 2 of these stages. Like, they were just out there, and having a super team is so much of an advantage. It could be a bad put together team with no chemistry, and you can still get to the finals with it. That's why super teams aren't that respected, right? Miami skipped all of that. They skipped all of that, and then they realized that we actually have to build the team the right way the second year, and then they went through it the right way and did it. But that first year, it was just, oh man, we got a super team. We just go run through everybody, and they did. They ran through everybody and got to the finals and got exposed by Jason Terry. That was not supposed to happen. That happened because they skipped so many steps because they didn't have to go through those steps because they was a super team. TJ said, question, did Boston wait their turn? Yeah, they did. Boston waited their turn. Not Boston, the franchise, but the guys who came together in Boston waited their turn. Ray Allen was in Milwaukee. He did it the right way in Milwaukee. It didn't work. Then he went to Seattle. They never got to a point where they built a contender around him in Seattle. But he tried. Then they tried all throughout their prime years. Kevin Garnett was in Minnesota, did it the right way. He had 2 teams that could compete built around him. One time it was when he had Sam Cassell, Latrell Sprewell, Wally Zerbiak. It was him, and I can't remember all the other guys, but they had Troy Hudson was coming off the bench balling. They had a decent squad built around them, but they just couldn't get past Shaq and Kobe. Like, how you gonna get past Shaq and Kobe in the West? They just couldn't do it. right? They got past Sacramento one year. They beat he went head up with Weber and beat them. But I mean, how you gonna get past Kobe if you ain't, it's Shaq and Kobe. That's So he tried, and he tried most of his prime years. And Paul Pierce, he had something decent around him with Antoine Walker and a couple other guys as well. They made a couple of playoff runs, but it wasn't enough. So they got through their prime. They had about 2 years of prime basketball left in them. And what happens when you go your whole career trying to win and you realize you couldn't do it? All the old guys do it. When Jason Kidd realized he couldn't lead a team as the number one and win, I mean, he got the Nets to the finals twice. With one year, I think Kenya Martin was his second best player. I think the other year it might have been Vince Carter, but he got to the finals twice. But he realized I couldn't do it. So at the end of his prime, he joined Dirk in Dallas and got him one. Gary Payton, he tried to do it in Seattle. He went through his whole prime in Seattle, realized he couldn't get it done, and just said, I just won a championship just one time. So as an old guy, after I've tried it as in my prime, I go as an old guy and try it over here with the Lakers. It didn't work. Same thing with Karl Malone. He went through his entire prime with John Stockton in Utah, and then his last couple of years, let me try to get a ring at least before I retire. So when the old guys spend the best years of their life trying to do it the right way, and then when they realize that they weren't good enough to do it, that as a final last resort, all right, I try to get at least one ring before I retire. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. So yes, Boston, when it comes to Garnett, when it comes to Ray Allen and Paul Pierce, they did wait their turn. That's not what LeBron did. He didn't spend his whole prime trying to do it the right way so he could prove himself. He skipped it. He said, I'm gonna take my best years and go get on the super team. That's totally different. That's totally different. I hope you understand that. Right. Who said they started crying in the second quarter? All right, so I'm gonna open the phone lines up, y'all, because I want to hear what y'all think about this journey that we just heard Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan kind of describe. Kind of getting to the mountaintop. That same mountaintop that John Stockton said that LeBron took a helicopter to, and that's what he was talking about. Like John Stockton said, LeBron took a helicopter to the top of the hill, like that hill that Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan and Scottie was just describing, that they had to go up, and every time they got up there, the Pistons knocked them down, and they kept rising back up. Pistons knocked them down. They went back to the drawing board. Let's figure this out. Let's get stronger. Let's get smarter. Let's get better. They go back up there. Pistons knock them down again, and they get back up there. They finally knocked the Pistons down. It was a sweep. Whooped the pants off of them boys and got to the top of the hill and three-peated. Right? That's grit. That's determination. That's something that we can respect. But getting knocked down and then saying, oh man, I ain't about to keep getting knocked down, and I'm not waiting my turn. Hey, Wade, what we doing? Because we got to catch Kobe, because Kobe already got daggone 5 rings and we ain't got but 1. Wade had 1, LeBron had 0, Kobe had 5. We want to make our mark in history and be above Kobe Bryant. How we gonna do that if he got 5 rings and we've been here for 7 years and we only got 1 between us? That's why they took that shortcut. And now he wants us to respect it, and nobody respect shortcuts. And you got people coming out like John Stockton. Like John Stockton rarely talks. What's popping? K-Sop, man. I was just listening to one of your shows yesterday. You know which one I'm talking about too. I was like, man, how the heck somebody bringing drama his way, man? He one of the coolest dudes in these YouTube streets, man. I'm like, man, who bringing drama that man way? I'm like, I know they got it out for me then, because K-Sop way cooler than I am. I know. Hey, I know they got my daggone name all messed up. But yeah, you know which episode I'm talking about. I was watching it last night, man. I was like, golly, got to be more careful. But yeah, shout out to Simply Ball Dropping, man, and K-Sop, man. But we'll talk though. I was just shaking my head like, man, you got to be kidding me, man. But you know what? You should just ignore it though. For real. I probably wouldn't even address it, but yeah, shout out to y'all over there at Simply Ball Dropping, man, and everybody in the audience, man. Y'all go get them a sub. I know a lot of y'all already watching it over there though, but if you're not, go ahead and go get them a sub, man. But yeah, hey, phone lines is open, y'all. I'll leave it open for probably about 30 more seconds before I move on. But I got some more stuff I wanted to give y'all, man, because we got to kind of get conditioned and get ready for the GOAT to come start dropping these gems again on us, man. So I got something else for y'all. It was it's actually a good setup as well. I kind of want to talk about Michael Jordan retiring and his motivation for retiring and all that stuff, man, because there's a lot of misconception on why he retired and all that stuff, man. And the information is out there. So I get to it. It looks like we're not getting a phone call. Oh, did my camera just go out? Okay. All right. So I'll take this phone number down and we'll just move. Y'all want to get to everything, right? Hey man, same thing to you, K-Sap, man. I appreciate it, dog. Appreciate it. All right, so another interview that I thought was cool, right? And this was an interview I never watched, but it's not even really an interview. It's his retirement speech or his retirement announcement from when he retired in '98, right? So I got a little bit of things that he said and then I thought was really important, but I also got some things that he said before his retirement, like, you know, some things he said before Phil Jackson got hired. He went on David Letterman's show. It was his second year in the season, second year in the NBA. I think it was the year he broke his foot. He went on David Letterman and had a conversation. He said something that I had never heard him say before. I never knew this man said this, but when y'all hear it, I don't know if y'all heard it, but I haven't. This is my first time hearing it. And I was like, that's interesting. That's really interesting that he said that. So it was something he said on David Letterman. Then it was something, that interview that I just told y'all about that they did in '97. He said something again about when he retired in '93. He kind of went over why he did it. And then we go get to his actual retirement in '98. So this is what he said on Letterman.
What do you do in the off season for fun?
Play golf.
Play a lot of golf?
Just,
You're a pretty good golfer, aren't you?
yeah, my pro back at Finley Golf Course in Chapel Hill. I cannot say his last name. I just say Eddie I.
Eddie I. And is it true that you were thinking maybe of playing pro golf? Really?
I quit at the age of 32 and try to get on the PGA Tour.
Boy, that's tough. That's tough. But if anybody could do it, I guess you could.
Well, I had to. I mean, I got to go out and earn some money first because you can lose a lot on the golf.
Yeah. Now, you're 23 now?
23.
So you play like 9 more years and then you're going to switch to golf? Well, geez, that's good luck. Nice to meet you, Michael. Hope you have a great year next year.
Okay. When he was 23, his second year in the league, the year he broke his foot, he's on David Letterman. This is when he's got all these endorsements. He's got Nike, he's got Hanes, he's got Ballpark Frank, he's got daggone he got so many endorsements. It was unreal. He had watch companies, and it was unreal, the endorsements he had flying in at 23. He was getting paid. And this dude said that he liked golf so much that his plan was to retire at 32. He said he was going to retire in 9 years from that day at 32 and go pro in golf. This man was not thinking about trying to be the GOAT. He wasn't thinking about passing Kareem's scoring title. He wasn't thinking about no stats. He wasn't thinking about playing for 30 years to get all the stats. He wasn't thinking about none of that. He just wanted to play and be the best basketball player he possibly could be and get up out of there like Barry Sanders did really fast. Just wanted to get up out of there. He said 32, he was going to quit. And he almost did that because he was actually 34 when he retired, right? He was 34 that last championship in '98 when he retired. Of course, he came back when he was 39 or 38. He came back when he was 38, right? So, But this man wanted to retire after only playing 11 years in the league, because he had just finished his second year. So he wanted to do 11 years and retire. Ain't that something, right? That's interesting. All right.
It's time for me to move away from the game of basketball.
October 8th, 1993. I guess that's a day that would live in basketball infamy. You still remember the date, Michael?
Oh, yeah. I definitely remember it. And I remember the emotions and the moment and talking with Phil and, talking to the players who came up and we had a great conversation. Tony Kukoc, who I've never met at the time, came into this room. And when he broke down in tears, that really softened what I was actually about to do, because here this guy was showing emotions and he never had the opportunity to play with me. And I felt guilty that I was taking an opportunity away from him. But at the time, mentally, I wasn't really where I wanted to be, and I needed a break. And, my father just passed. We just finished our third championship season where, we had a lot of different personalities, going against each other, and we didn't seem to be in the same frame of mind as we were the first two. And, and the pressure that I was dealing with at the time, was just too much. And I needed a break. I needed a change. And Phil tried to talk me out of it. He actually, gave me a lot of things to think about. And I gave him one. I said, if you can give me one challenge that I can look forward to this season, that could motivate me, then certainly I could change my thought. And, he tried one in terms of, just being God-gifted talent, and, you're depriving a lot of people of, an opportunity to enjoy that. And, that really wasn't, enough for me to push myself into the next season. And I didn't really have the sense of motivation. And, it was a great career at the time. And I felt when I walked away, that was it.
So he said the first time he retired, of course, one of the hugest motivations was his father had passed, right? And he said mentally, he was, he was wore out, I guess. They just three-peated, he probably doing a whole bunch of other things. And, now he got that weighing on his heart and on his mind that he lost his dad the way he lost his dad. And he was like, I think at this point, I've done most of everything. I mean, that's what he said at the press conference. I've done everything I set out to do in this league. I established myself as the best player. I three-peated, so I won rings. I won multiple. Like if I only won one ring, I would probably have to prove to myself I can get another one. But I just proved to y'all that once I get a team built the way we like it, I can run off 3 straight. I ran off 3 straight. He was like, I didn't have anything else to prove. And he said that there was no challenges that he could present himself or Phil could present him that'd get him up for another grueling season or another run at it. He said it was no challenge that that he could really use, right? And I like that thought process, because one thing we don't like in the military, right, is the the people that won't get out your way, right? Because everything as far as advancement in the military, there are quotas, right? So let's say the quotas come down from the top government officials, and they say that we need this many people in let's say the Army or the Navy. Let's say the Navy. Let's use the Navy as a military branch. We only need this many people in the Navy. Once we get to that number of people, then we're not asking more people to come in, right? We only maintaining this amount, right? We don't want to go over. We maintaining this amount. Out of those amount of people we are maintaining, every different job, like your job might be to be an electrician, or you might be a mechanic, or you might be a personnel man. Whatever your job is, let's say we only need 100 of those in the entire Navy, right? I'm just using that number, 100 in the entire Navy. Once you reach 100, nobody else can promote to the next rank. Like if I got 100 at this rank, 100 at this rank, 100 at this rank, nobody can promote until one of those people get out. What happens is promotions get kind of slowed down, because once people get to the top, man, I'm staying as long as I want to, and I'm not doing nothing. Once you get to the top, you ain't doing much work. So why would you stick around just to collect that paycheck when you can get your sorry behind out and open up a spot for somebody else to move up that might be younger and who can put some more years in. They trying to stay as long as possible. As long as I ain't getting out, so they kick me out. That people doing 30 years and like, why? I don't understand. Get yours, get your money, get your rank, get your experiences, get your credentials, and get your happy ass out. So the people below you can promote, right? The NBA is the same way. Like, we got these faces of the leagues that's trying to hog everything up. LeBron James, Steph Curry, and probably even Kevin Durant need to get the fuck out the league. We get it that your body can still go through the season, but y'all shit water. Y'all good players, but y'all can't get that shit done no more. KD couldn't even make the playoffs. Steph Curry was about to miss the playoffs too, but they gave him Jimmy Butler, which is who Phoenix was trying to get as well. They were trying to get Jimmy Butler to come save their season. Steph Curry and Draymond out there looking like shit in shallow water. Can't even get it done no more. Can't even finish the playoff series. You pulling your dang on hamstring. You old. LeBron taking defenses. He ain't played. I mean, he take defensive plays off for the last 10 years. Michael Jordan and Kobe. If Michael Jordan and Kobe, they had the thought process. If I can't play the defense and the offense the way I used to, why am I still here? LeBron is sticking around here knowing he can't even play both ends of the floor for 82 games in a season and give it his all. Why are you here? Why are you making $50 million a year? Why is Steph making $50 million a year? Why are you stealing this money? Get out the way and let the stars under you take the reins from you. Michael Jordan understood that. I'm going to get mine and I'm going to get out the way. Especially, I want to get out of here while I'm on top. Why would I want to stick around here stinking like a corpse? Dead but won't lay down. That's what Steph and LeBron is. They dead but won't lay down. Get out the league. And that's what MJ was talking about. Like, I'm going to get in and get out. I'm going to get in and get out. That's what he was talking about.
You the reasons for your retirement, feeling about it, to the last time you retired, and why you're so certain this role in it for you.
Well, it's very similar. Mentally, I'm exhausted. I don't feel I have a challenge. Physically, I feel great. The last time in '83, I had other agendas. I knew I wanted to play baseball, and I felt that at my age, it was a good opportunity, time to do it. And with the death of my father, and I was basically trying to deal with that. And this time, I'm at peace with a lot of those things. I know, from a career standpoint, I've accomplished everything I could as an individual. And right now I don't have the mental challenges that I've had in the past to proceed as a basketball player. Sure, I'm pretty sure people say, well, it's a lot of different challenges that could evolve. And for me to start something and then in the middle of the season lose interest and lose my motivation, it's unfair to the people that I'm working with and working for, and to the fans. So I alleviated that opportunity by saying, this is the perfect time for me to walk away from the game. And I'm at peace with that. And
Michael, two questions like Lacey. Is there a record that you wish you could get that you can't get now that you're not playing? And two, are you worried about the spirit of the young players in the game?
No, it's not a record that I didn't get that I would love to have gotten. I mean, I'm pretty sure people would say I'd like to lead the history, score the most points in the history of the game. But that I'd rather give up that to get 6 titles. So it's a compensation there.
They asked him, now that you're retiring, and mind you, this 98 and he's 34 or 35, right? And he's like, I feel great physically. Like I can still go. Like he just played 82 games and got all the way to the finals to complete another three-peat. And I think he got MVP that year. Like imagine the MVP retiring the year he got MVP, and he won the championship and got finals MVP and played 82 games. Like imagine that guy retiring. It don't make sense, right? So They don't understand. They asked him like, man, you know, they basically were saying you don't want to go get Kareem's record. Because at the time he retired, I think he was number 2 behind Kareem. I think Karl Malone kept playing and passed him and got number 2. I think Karl Malone was number 3 at the time, if I'm not mistaken. But at the time, he was number 2 behind Kareem, and he was only 34, 35. He could have played 3 more years and caught Kareem if he wanted to. Like, I'm pretty sure he can do math on the calculator. He could have looked and said, if I want to retire the number 1 leading scorer of all time, I need to play this many more years and average this many points. But no, he said, no, I mean, like, I would rather have the 6 rings. That was his thought process. I would rather have the 6 rings. That's a different mentality. Nah, I'd rather have the 6 rings, big dog, than the scoring title. You know what I mean? So I'm cool on that. Plus, I've already showed you. I mean, you seen somebody better than me? All right, well, cool, fine. I'm good with that. I'm good, but the fact when you cut the film on and you watch us play, you be like, nah, he's the best I've ever seen. Right? It's going to be people that are going to cut the film on and watch people and then determine who's the best. And there's going to be people that's going to say, oh, I ain't got to watch nobody play. All I got to do is Google the stats. I know who the best is. Those people, I can't vibe with those type of people. I can't vibe with those type of people who study basketball on the calculator. Well, if you carry the 1, you know, I told somebody Jokic is not a good defender. He was like, actually, if you take this and you take his defensive win shares and if you carry the 1 over here and then if you add his I don't know what he be doing. Just calculate him. And then he'll be like, oh, well, according to my calculations, he's a good defender. Man, get the hell out of here, man. Like, according to my calculation, hold on, this is how they be too. This is how they be right here. Actually, carry the 1, and he's the best defender on Denver's team. That somebody told me that before. I can't make this up. Somebody told me that before. Say he's the best defender on the team. I said, God bless America. We got some special people out here, man. Special people. I thought that was just funny, man. That's funny. Y'all want the phone lines open tonight? Y'all want the next topic? Phone lines or no? Put a 1 in the chat. Y'all want the phone lines open? Put a 2 in there if y'all want the next topic. We can move. According to my calculations, while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna play one more thing for y'all that I just thought was interesting. It's something Phil Jackson
What you guys
said.
missed basically was rebounding, and you missed a defender in the interior, and you went out and you got Dennis Rodman. Now again, Phil, I understand the motivation from management standpoint, and that was a great move.
Wayne, we would never made the move without checking first with Scotty and Michael. And even though, you know, Jerry had left the decision up to me and he had entertained the thought, and I put down on paper 7 guys I thought could help us out. He was the 7th at the bottom of that list simply because of what he brings with it. You know, Did
y'all hear that? He said when they lost to Orlando and they realized they was missing something, they was missing rebounding, and they was missing the defensive player, because that's what they had with Horace Grant with their first three-peat. They said they was missing that. Phil Jackson said he went to management and gave a list of guys that he thought would help. And he said Dennis Rodman was number 7 of 7. It was 6 guys that they would rather have other than Dennis Rodman. Let that sink in. I thought that was interesting. All right, so another thing that happened, man, Charles Barkley, I already mentioned that Charles Barkley and the TNT crew inside the NBA, they're getting moved to ESPN. I think this will be, of course, this will be their last playoff run on TNT. They'll be on ESPN next year, right? Charles Barkley don't like ESPN. Hates their guts. He hates Stephen A. Smith. He hates how ESPN operate. All of the above, right? And so he was on Outkick the Coverage. He was on their show, on their podcast, and they was having a conversation about it, right? And
Said I don't want.
I just thought it was real interesting. Charles Barkley don't care, man. He say whatever he want to say, man. Listen to how Charles Barkley discuss what he's gonna do when he get over to ESPN.
I want to talk about LeBron James every freaking day, or Brett Favre, or Aaron Rodgers, or all the you got to talk about. I don't want to do that every day. Now you're going to ESPN, and you've been critical of ESPN, particularly their coverage of the Lakers. What are your thoughts as this is your last season heading over?
Yeah, Dan, I'm not going to change. I'm going to do what I want to do. Nobody's going to tell me what to say or what to do. I thought I get upset. They're like the Lakers are contenders. I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not contenders. You know, Kendrick Perkins, who don't know it from a hole in the wall. He's like, the Lakers are contenders. Lakers are contenders, and I said they're not contenders. And clearly, if you lose in the first round, you're not a contender. But I'm not going to change my personality. Ain't nobody fire me. I make too much money to get fired. So they can't fire me. And first of all, they fire me. They got to pay me for 7 years, and I'm going to quit way before then. But they want to fire me. I would love for them to do that. The only decision we've been making is how long I'm going to work. And I've been going back and forth with TNT for the last 2 months, whether I'm going to work 2 years or 3 years. But if I really wanted to, I could stay for 7 years, which there's no chance of that happening. Zero. But I have made it. I'm making a decision whether I'm going to stay 2 years or 3 years, but it's more likely 2 years. But if they're going to fire me, they'd have to pay me for 7, which they're not going to do because I make too much money. So I'm not worried about getting fired. And nobody at ESPN is going to tell me what to say or do, period.
Okay, so I had to do some digging because Kendrick Perkins actually responded that because he said Kendrick Perkins by name, and he said he don't know his behind from a hole in the wall, right? And he also said, said that ESPN is not going to tell him to talk about LeBron all the time. He said he's not going to be forced to talk about the Lakers and pretend that they're good when they're not, right? He said he's going to tell the truth, and you can't tell me what to say. And people might listen to that and be like, what is Charles Barkley talking about, man? Like, don't nobody tell them what to say. They probably think that those guys just get up there and say what they want to, right? That's not how it works. Like, they're paying you money, and they have producers, and these producers want the show to go a certain way. And we've all known that, but we don't get a lot of people to like come out and speak on it and admit it. Well, Charles Barkley is basically alluding to it, that that's what's going on. But have we ever heard it from the horse's mouth? Well, yes, we have. Kendrick Perkins, 2 years ago, when he first started getting popularity on ESPN, and he went on JJ Reddit's podcast, The Old Man and the Three, 2 or 3 years ago, and they had a conversation about it. And he just basically told everything, was like, yeah, man, like sometimes they tell us what to say, or sometimes they ask us, can you say this? I think this would be a good segment if you say this, or can you disagree? But I'll let him tell it.
Did you ever have a prediction that you regret?
Yeah, I have a few of them.
What's number one? What's number one for you?
I mean, like, so like I know, right? Doing First Take, that show in particular, it's a debate show. So when you're prepping for it, it's all about where you disagree at to make great TV.
It's take it behind the curtain,
right?
We get the email the night before the show,
yeah.
And obviously, if there's during the playoffs, if there's a game, they're going to say we're going to hit you up in the morning,
right?
Then we wake up at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. There's another email. There's a production call at 7:30. There's the final email, usually comes across at 9. And they might have 30 questions. They whittle it down to 5 or 6 things that we all disagree on so that we can talk about it.
So we can talk
and debate.
So he said the production meeting happens early. Actually, the day before they actually trying to find topics that they think will be fiery and good on screen. And the best topics, because it is a debate show, the best topics are the ones that they disagree on. So They might have 10 or 12 topics, and after texting everyone, texting Kendrick Perkins, texting JJ Redick, texting Stephen A. Smith, they're trying to figure out which ones they disagree on because, those are the ones that they can debate on and give us good TV. So let's narrow it down to the 5 ones they disagree on, right? And that's when you have times where, oh man, well, Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp both agree on this topic. So let's invite T.O. on, or let's invite JJ Redick on, or Jay Will on, because they go have a different opinion and we can have a debate. I think that's corny, right? I think it's corny, especially when you know what's going on and you know that these guys are saying things they don't really believe. They're just saying things for TV.
So sometimes I may play devil's advocate and say, fuck it, right? And I remember it was last year, the Phoenix Suns jump out on the Milwaukee Bucks 2-0, right? And so I'm getting ready to go on First Take the next morning. They like, hey, Perk, would you sit up here and say that the Phoenix Suns are on the verge of being a dynasty? And so my big dumb ass, I'm like, fucking hell yeah, I jump out on the limb. They about to win this series anyway, because at that point it looked like Phoenix was the better team before like Giannis flipped the script. So I jump on First Take the next morning, and I was like, when I look at Devin Booker, and I look at Mikal Bridges, and I look at, DeAndre Ayton, not just those 3. Forget Chris Paul. They have the core. They have Monty Williams. They have the coaching. They go win this one, and in the next 3 or 4 years, they go win 2 more, which is going to make them a dynasty. I just jumped off the porch. They end up fucking losing the series, right? So it's no more dynasty. People still bring that shit up to this day.
So the producers approached Kendrick Perkins and was like, hey, we want to drop an idea in your lap. Will you go on First Take and say this? And Kendrick Perkins was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So something that he didn't even believe, the producer said, you should say this. And he was like, okay. That's a normal thing on ESPN. And Charles Barkley know it. Do you think that that's what they're doing on TNT? You think Charles, Kenny, and Shaq are saying what they really believe? Or do you think they're doing what they're doing like they're doing it for TV? Well, I know Kenny and Chuck really believe what they're saying. Shaq is a capper. He comes out and just say dumb stuff all the time. Hey, man, Steph in the GOAT debate. Man, shut up. Right? You know what I mean? But he does that all the time. But for the most part, there's no producer saying, will you say this? There's no producers telling them, hey, this is a hot take. Can you say this hot take? Them dudes is uncut as uncut can get on TV. Like Charles Barkley is himself. Kenny is himself. There's no producer saying, there's the script and we want y'all to say this and we want you to disagree with that and we're trying to figure out what y'all disagree at. No, that's real life stuff, right? That's a real barbershop conversation on TNT. That's why it's so good. All the fakes and phonies are under Disney. Stephen A. Smith and all them, we know JJ Redick phony. I don't even think the part in his hair real. I think that's a tattoo or something. He just a plastic fake phony dude, man. Like, you got to be a little phony to get on ESPN. That's what they breed, right? So yeah, Charles Barkley is spitting the gospel when he say, man, when I get over there, I'm not with that nonsense, and you ain't about to work me all day long either. You get what I'm saying? You ain't about to put me on every freaking show, right? So, I appreciate Charles Barkley for saying that. And I appreciate the internet for never deleting anything, because it was kind of easy finding. I remember Kendrick Perkins said that, but I don't know if y'all remember that Kendrick Perkins said that. And I think he said something even more than that. But I couldn't find that one when he first got his podcast with Swagoo. They had a podcast together, and he kind of went more in details on how fake it was. Right. So that junk is not real, y'all. Like the stuff that people are saying, they don't even believe half of it. Even like we know the GOAT debate not real. We know the people that go up there and cap for LeBron are just doing it for TV. We know they don't really believe that. Right? It's for TV. I mean, we seen the tweets that Shannon Sharp tweeted out before he got a job at Fox. where he said Kobe and Mike were the best basketball players. He said Jesus, Mike, and Kobe in that order. And so did Nick Wright say that Kobe was it was Mike, then Kobe, and Kareem or something like that. These are tweets that you can go and find that they tweeted. That as soon as they got their jobs, some producer must have told them, "Hey, look, I mean, if you want this show to grow some legs and get big, we got to have somebody on this side, and we got to have somebody on this side. This guy is already a Jordan guy, so you can't be a Jordan guy. You need to be over here on the LeBron side." And that's the game, right? That's the game, right? So now you know. Now you know. He said that's cold. Michael, do you think that part real? I don't think so. I seen it move one time. I look, I can't make this up. In the first half, that the last game of the playoffs, go back and look at it. In the first half, JJ Redick Park was right here. Right? They went to commercial break and came back. His part was on this side. I said, boy, that's a cold part that if it can move sides like that. I said, ain't no way that part moves sides like that. And it's just a commercial break. Right? There was some cold work right there. Feel good. $5 super chat. I appreciate it, brother. He said the GOAT debate is literally just trolling for viewership. People get biting on that bait. 100%. You're right. It's clickbait for sure. Clickbait for sure. This will be my last topic, y'all. We won't get into the end. Well, maybe I'll do the NBA draft as well, but this will be my last topic. And I've done this one before because Carmelo's done this before, right? So on his podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, I remember he told the story of how New York traded away Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith, and he had Iman Shumpert on the show that they spoke about it, but that was like months ago, and I covered it on this channel, but then they went into a little bit more detail because J.R. Smith was on the show just last week, and they spoke about it again. And I just want to give you a little bit of insight of the mind of LeBron Ramon James, or just the mindset brought to you by Carmelo Anthony. Man, this is what he saw from that trade.
What was that like when you were going from New York to Cleveland?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I cried.
Really?
Yeah. I was in Memphis. We was in Memphis. I had just got out of, I was working out. We was getting ready for the game. And I came back in the locker room, and who was it? Steve Mills? Steve Mills pulled me aside. He's like, "Yeah, man, we just traded you and Shump to Cleveland." And I was just like, "Dang, word." Go back to my locker and shit, taking my shit off. Then I started looking around. I'm like, "Damn, where's son at?"
I was getting treatment.
I was over there fucking tearing up and shit, and he was on the phone going the fuck off.
I couldn't get Leon on the phone.
Yeah, I forgot who you was talking to. He was like, "To him? You gonna trade him to him?"
No, that was Steve. No, I was on the phone with them. I was on the phone with them, with the Knicks. And it was deeper than that because I know the assignment. I know what this is about. Like, I know where I'm at, and I know where he's at. And I know what we're trying to do. And I know no matter what, win, lose, or draw, it's going to always be competitive. It's going to always be him and his side. It's going to always be me and my side. Not saying that they causing shit to sides, but it's a respect. And it's like, nigga, you can't play around with that, and you can't play around with that. So we always trying to figure out. Just so we're being clear, you're talking about your side and Bron's side.
Uh,
I'm just saying the way that it's always been since high school. Yeah. We always been coming together. We always be parallel to one another. Right. You know what I mean? No matter his success, no matter my success, whatever it is, we will always be connected together. Even if it's shit go on in Cleveland that don't have nothing to do with me, some way, somehow they're going to connect those dots and put a mirror to that.
Right.
Just Melo doing this over there. Melo ain't doing this over here, and Bron doing this. So it's going to always be that. So as somebody who's building and want to compete against that, you didn't leave me nothing to build on. You took everything away from me. You took the keys. You took the whip. Like you left me out there to I gotta clean the yard up. I gotta clean the yard up. And I gotta do shit that I've never done before because I was so comfortable with everybody having their role and understanding what everybody's gonna do. Yeah. And I also understand how he thinks. Word, I can get those two niggas.
And I could take it away from one of my
And I can take it away from that.
Yeah.
That alleviate one. That's one less stress that I have to worry about. Now I could just focus on Boston. I can focus on this team and this. I can focus on certain people. As long as I alleviate this situation by any means necessary, and if taking them two alleviates that, take the air out that bite, I've done my job. It ain't personal.
It's business.
It's business. It's competing.
Right.
I think it is personal, to be honest with you. And you can tell, you can hear it in his voice. And this is the second time he spoke about it. That thing bothered him. And you could kind of see from afar, like, okay, that's my friend, like that's my homie. But I don't think he respected that move. I'm being honest with you. I think the only reason why he's acting like he respect, like, you know, it's just business and it ain't no hard feelings and I respect. I think he's just doing that just to save the little bit of friendship they got. But he keeps talking about this, and D Wade keeps saying things too. Like they really want to clear the air and get some stuff out there. I think they really got issues with LeBron when it comes to that, but I just don't think they confrontational like that to the point where they want to take it there with LeBron. I don't think they really want to, you know, not have a friendship with him. But that's some stuff to say and keep talking about. Like he really bothered by the fact, man, you came over here and took J.R. Smith from me. Like if you want to beat me and prove to me that you're above me, like why would you take my help and add it to you and then beat me and then try to make it seem like that makes you better than me? Like you took my help. You get what I'm saying? Like, dude, you done already ran the East for 4 straight years with a super team in Miami. Right? You know, I'm building something over here, man. Let me build something. You snatching my pieces away and using it for your good. And I think that's crazy because I thought you wanted to beat me fair and square and be real competition. And that's not what he did. He went and strategically, like, you know, everything Clutch Sports and LeBron was doing in the NBA, it was so strategic, man. Like they really sat down and blueprinted this stuff out and planned it and executed it all the way down to him getting Kareem's record. That was something that they probably looked at 6-7 years before and clocked it out and was like, this is what I need to do to get it. Right? This is what I need to be the GOAT. If I get X, Y, and Z, I can be the GOAT. If I get the scoring title and then I keep assisting the ball the way I am, and if I keep rebounding the way I am, I'll be top 5 in all 3 of them categories. And if I play, you know, I played 22 years, I'll be top 5 in all 3 of those categories. If I play long enough, I can play with my son. Nobody's ever done that. Add that to the thing. If I get Kareem's record, I'll be number 1 in there. Add that to the thing. You know what I mean? He just adding all this stuff to it to accumulate all this to go into his package. So when people look at it on paper, they'll be like, oh man, this is impressive. You know, just yeah, I don't know, just adding to the mythology, man. You get what I'm saying? It's weird. It's weird that they did that. And then be strategic like this as well. Like, oh shoot, I got a sports agency and, you know, I'm signing these players. And guess what? When you with Clutch Sports, we looking out for the best of you. We gonna make you make money there. That's one thing. But also on the other end, Clutch Sports clients that I really think can help me win. Oh man, Anthony Davis. Why don't you tell New Orleans you want to force a trade to LA and tell them you're not gonna play until they trade you? Like that is some crazy stuff that LeBron's best friend, Rich Porter, or Rich, whatever his name is. Is it not? Rich Porter is the dude from Paid in Full. What is this dude name? Rich, oh man, what is his agent? What is the agent name? Rich, whatever his name is. Rich. And that's probably not even his real name. But you could be his best friend and you can represent all these players being his best friend. Rich Paul, thank you. Rich Paul can talk to LeBron, and LeBron can say, "Hey, I need AD over here," and as a freaking agent, you go to Anthony Davis and say, "Oh, you about to go play with LeBron in LA." So tell them tell them that you want to trade, force a trade, sit out until they trade you. Like, dude, think about that, bro. And imagine if MJ told Patrick Ewing to force a trade out of New York to come to play with him in Chicago. Imagine if MJ's mentality was not that I want to continue to beat Patrick Ewing. If he just said, Pat, why don't you come over here and join me? And don't wait for your contract to be over because I don't have that much time because I'm old. Why don't you force a trade out of LA? Sit out until they trade you. And this is not LeBron telling him that. This is Rich Paul telling him that, which is his agent. But Rich Paul is also LeBron's best friend and LeBron's agent. So they talk like best friends. But when they talk like best friends, he can go and talk to AD like an agent and make agent moves and have his client force his way out of New Orleans. Can't make this stuff up, y'all. All this stuff is strategic for his legacy. Oh, and by the way, draft my son in the first round, get him here so I can make history and get him a 3-year contract. Like, all this stuff is corny, y'all. All of it is corny. But Melo is bothered enough to keep mentioning this on his podcast. He's already talked about it with Shump. Now he's talking about it with JR. And all three of them thought it was clown stuff, clown behavior. Now they went over there and locked in and got a ring with him, but they all thought it was clown behavior. They all did. So I'm gonna open the phone lines up, y'all. I'll take 2 or 3 phone calls before we get to the final topic. And then I will bid you all a good night. And I'll see y'all on Full Panel Friday with the full panel tomorrow night. Should be a good episode. We can talk about the playoffs and we talk about a whole bunch of other things, man. It's gonna be a good one. But I'll keep the phone lines open for another 30 seconds. Caller, can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, Mel?
Yeah, what's popping, man? What's your thoughts?
Couple things, man. With the Melo thing, that's pretty much on brand. Sorry, I got my YouTube on. It's like he is always looking for advantages, whether they're like fair or not. It doesn't matter. He's just consumed with wanting to be the best, right? But it's really diminishing returns because we can see this, right? We can see that he is maneuvering and he's doing all these things that other people didn't do when they actually competed. And I think people that are a fan of his, like they'll look past it, but anybody who's being objective is just going to see that. I mean, it's hollow. And I think what he's doing right now in his career is diminishing returns, right? He keeps playing. He's not winning anything. He's not effective. So it's like it's hurting his own GOAT case, which I don't think it's real anyways.
Yeah, to a logical person, it's hurting it. But I mean, it's nothing he could do for his fan base to think, he's done anything to hurt his legacy.
Yeah,
I mean, his fan base is just. I mean, they more loyal than a hound dog that you keep tied up on a tree in the front yard that you ain't never let come in the house. That's how loyal his fan base is. He can do no wrong. I don't understand it. It's almost like a cult.
It kind of is, man. It's really weird. I will say this. It's like I'm not sure if you're like a believing person. But in the Bible, it says like at a certain time, people will believe a lie.
Oh yeah,
and, yeah. Like, granted, this is like a microcosm of that, but it's like even with the like LeBron, Michael Jordan thing, like if you're a numbers guy, you just look at the numbers. Like the more you look at Michael Jordan's numbers, the more it doesn't make sense that LeBron James is the GOAT, right? And that's beyond the eye test. That's beyond the actual like on-court achievements, not these BS achievements like, oh, I played with my son, I own a sports agency. Like those are just like anecdotal things. Like, oh, he did that, but like, did it translate into winning?
Right.
Like, no, you know.
Right.
Like the whole rookie of the year thing, it's been a setup since the beginning, right? Like the Nuggets were, I think, like a 20-something win team before he came on. They draft him, they make the playoffs. And they had similar numbers, but
in the West,
in the strong West, right? This is like what early 2000s. Spurs are king, Lakers are coming off the three-peat, but Timberwolves are still strong. All these teams versus LeBron in the East. Like the Celtics haven't come back yet. I really can't think of like. I guess the Nets were good, but they're not like that kind of good, you know.
I mean, I think this was on the tail end of Iverson and Philly when he got in the league, and then the top teams before Detroit formed up, the top team was I mean, as far as superstars, I think the best superstar in the East was Iverson, and then Gilbert Arenas had a run with the Wizards. But other than that, J Kidd in New Jersey. But the superstar, the superstars was out.
I guess
west.
the Heat were coming up too. But all like the majority of the good teams are out west, right?
Yeah.
But it's again, Carmelo Anthony did, he deserved the Rookie of the Year.
I believe so.
It's unfortunate that those Nuggets didn't make it over the hump, but they were building something in New York too. And I've never heard it from this perspective, but it kind of makes sense,
Yeah.
It seems pretty underhanded.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But I mean, but at the end of the day, it wasn't just LeBron. Phil Jackson had it out with Carmelo as well, so he knew that J.R. Smith and Shumpert were like his best friends, and like you remember when Phil Jackson was there as the president, he was trying to find. He tried to hire Steve Kerr. I think he ended up hiring Derek Fisher. He wanted somebody that can teach the triangle, and he wanted Melo in the triangle, and Melo didn't want to be in the triangle. So Phil Jackson and Melo butted heads really hard, really bad, and I think Phil was being petty by pulling the trigger on the trade.
And the more and more we see behind the veil, like the whole Mavericks trade on the front end, and now on the back end with him getting the front pick. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to argue with Phil about going to the triangle. He only won 11 championships in like 20 years.
Correct.
In that system, but at the same time, the guys have power and they can throw it around.
Yeah.
But even with that, like, I don't know, it's really unfortunate that he won that he did not win the Rookie of the Year. But what I wanted to talk to you about, I meant to call in yesterday. This is Phil, by the way.
Okay, what's up, Phil?
So good.
Good. Okay, good.
The Nuggets versus OKC. I really think Denver has a chance to win. But even if they do get past and they get over the hump, like they got to make some changes on the organizational level. Because like the way OKC has built their team, like their organization is built, like even if this team doesn't do it, they'll be able to pivot in the next 3 to 5 years and be back in championship form, right? Trade some guys away, if they want too much, get some more assets, develop them. And I think that was the big fight in the Nuggets front office, is like not really wanting to develop the players and just wanting to play now. And it's showing, right? I mean, like they're able to hold on because they have Jokic, but it's hard to stand up against a team that's, they're 10 deep and they're going back home,
Well, so this was going on with Denver, and people are putting they're putting a target on Calvin Booth back as the GM, and saying he's not doing enough to get help there, and then he let some help go, right? And the help he let go was Michael Caldwell Pope and Bruce Brown
and
Jeff Green. Jeff Green was a good locker room guy, and he could provide off the bench as well. So those are 3 key guys they let go. And even as soon as Bruce Brown left, I knew, because I watched Bruce Brown play in that championship run, and he was very instrumental. Like he was just as important. Like he was very important. Like
sure,
he couldn't he couldn't miss. He was always moving and slashing, and that's why I understood the Westbrook pickup, because they liked Bruce Brown so much they needed an energetic guy like that that could slash. They and they went and got Westbrook, and he's kind of like the same thing that Bruce Brown was. So they actually kind of replaced Bruce Brown and his effort and production with Westbrook. So, but I get to that later. But this is my point. Everybody want to say that Calvin Booth is not doing enough, but you got to look at it from this perspective. When they won a championship, and any championship team, if you're an agent, let's say I play for Denver and you're my agent, Phil, and I was instrumental in that championship run. When my contract year comes up, you're using it as leverage, correct?
The price goes up, of course.
Yesterday's price is not today's price. So now you got Aaron Gordon instrumental in the win. I mean, during that championship run, he had to guard LeBron, KD, and Jimmy Butler and lock them down. He did a phenomenal job on all three, back to back. Phoenix, Lakers, Heat. He guarded all of them. I can't remember who it was in the first round, but he guarded them too. He's always guarding the best player, no matter what the position is, right? So, what you think his agent's saying? Yeah, whatever he's supposed to get, whatever the max is for him, he's asking for it. MPJ, same thing. He was instrumental. He was shooting lights out. I want my money too. Jamal Murray, he's the co-star. He hit game winners left and right. He had 30 and 40-point games as well. Huge nights. I want my money as well. So now you got a decision to make. Do I want to let one of them go so I can keep Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and Michael and Caldwell Pope? Or do I keep the starters? Which one would you do?
Oh, I agree, but that's not the point I'm making. Like, it is what it is. Like, all those other guys deserve to get paid, and they did, right? KCP left. He got a better contract in Orlando this postseason, or this past season. Bruce Brown left before. The point is, like, you have what you have.
Right. So
right?
so as far as organization changes, there's no changes that can really be made because you're locked.
No.
You're
not,
locked in.
Not player personnel.
Okay.
I'm not saying like they need to get new players. I'm saying like their attitude this season was like the big fight between Booth and Malone was Booth wanted them to play the young guys more and develop them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Malone was like, no, get rid of them. We need veterans now. We're trying to win right now. And
who helped them win this game tonight?
Who was it? Strother
had
a huge role,
and Brown.
And Christian Brown, and
the young guys.
I think that's been. I mean, granted, they even were fighting in this season on like how many minutes should Christian Brown get while he was hurt. We had Russ starting when he came back. Should we let him be back in the starting lineup? Should we have Russ start? It's like it's short-sighted. Is what I'm saying. Like they need to be thinking more long term. It's like, okay, we have the players that we have. Some of these guys can play, maybe some of them can't. But at the very least, you can develop these players into someone who can either play for this team or you can showcase and trade for an asset later.
Yeah,
that's not what they were doing this year.
But look, you got to develop those young guys. Look, the guys that are getting to the conference finals are being led by young guys that got developed, like Anthony Edwards. Alexander Walker, what's the other McDaniels? Those are young guys. Those are young guys that got tossed in the fire and they figured it out during the playoffs and they figured it out while they lost. Now, the team that you want to look at that didn't develop their young guys and still struggling with putting their young guys on the floor is Golden State. How's that working out?
Oh, man. Yeah, man. And talking about coaches being petty as well, right?
Yeah.
Steve Kerr, now that Steph is hurt, he was playing Kuminga. He was doing pretty good. But I don't know. Part of me feels like they may even if the contract's not good enough, they would still match it just to be petty. But that'd be really petty. Because he's a restricted free agent, Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, but see, you. So look. They listen. The Golden State is in trouble. Because they gave Draymond money. Of course, you get Steph money, but they gave Draymond money, and now Butler came over there in the trade, and they extended him. I haven't looked at their contract situation, but I don't think they can afford to match even anything above average for Kuminga. I don't think they can match it without going into that second apron.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he goes somewhere. Maybe he comes to Texas. Maybe he comes to Houston. That'd be good. San Antonio. I think that's really anywhere he can start and be productive. He's gonna listen. But I agree. I think Golden State is in a bad place. Maybe they try to make some moves in the offseason or do a sign and trade for him to get some assets. But again, short sighted. Like they've had good draft picks. They've had a lot of young players that either just never got used or
James Wiseman,
where they just left. Yeah,
James Wiseman, they ruined that kid. They ruined him. He's gone. Poole's gone. They kind of ruined him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
well, it's kind of crazy. I feel like Golden State, like on another note, just got behind the wrong people. Like I know people in San Francisco like Draymond, but truth being told, I mean, he's chased away a lot of people. He chased away KD.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally chased away Jordan Poole.
Yep.
And I mean, maybe he enforces their culture, but I mean, like he's obviously doing stuff that's detrimental to the team in the long run. And yeah, they won another ship after KD left, but I mean, how many more could they have won in between?
Absolutely. I agree 100%, man. Thanks for the call, Phil.
All right, later, man.
All right, thanks. I can take one more. Any topic is open for discussion. The first topic, second topic, third topic, don't matter. Yeah, Golden State, man, they got a junkyard dog and Draymond Green that nobody can control. Nobody. The unique thing about Draymond is that he has a lot of narcissistic tendencies, right? And the people that he, somewhat victimized, because whoever is like in a narcissist's life is really somewhat his or her victim. And what he does is he uses so many different tactics, right? This man, when he stopped Sabonis on the chest and got suspended for that game against the Kings in the playoffs, he went to have a conversation with the commissioner, Adam Silver. And in that conversation, he used a guilt tactic, or he used a tactic where he could make someone feel sorry for him. After he stomped on somebody's chest, he made himself the victim in the office with Adam Silver and cried and said, I just want to retire. Right? All because people was calling him out for what he did. And he said, I'm getting tired of being labeled like this. I just want to retire. And now sympathy kicks in for Adam Silver, and he feels sorry for him. And he's telling him that you're not going to retire. You're going to get through this and all this stuff. He made himself the victim, right? Another thing he does, he used bullying tactics. So either he's going to make you feel sorry for him, or he's going to bully you. We obviously see that with choking Gobert and punching Poole and all this stuff. And then he used intimidation as well. Like when he was about, going through his contract negotiation and he felt like he wasn't about to get paid, he didn't call his agent to go talk to the GM. He didn't go talk to the GM himself. He didn't talk to Steph. He didn't talk to Steve Kerr. He drove over to the owner of the team's house, banged on his door, got in, and had a conversation with him. This is coming out of his own mouth on his podcast. He himself skipped all those parts of the chain of command. I didn't talk to the best player. I didn't talk to coach. I didn't talk to the GM. I didn't talk to my agent. I went to the owner. And after we had a conversation, I end up getting my contract. Like, this is crazy. Like, oh, and the last thing, you can Google this. At halftime of a game, they said Draymond almost killed Steve Kerr. They had to hold him back. He was about to kill Steve Kerr. He said, I'm going to kill you. And was going out to Steve Kerr after a heated argument they had. And the way he was going out to Steve Kerr, they knew if he actually got to Steve Kerr, it was going to be some slow singing and flower bringing. This is Draymond Green. He got the owners. He intimidated the owner for a contract. He intimidated the coach. The coach can't keep him in check. Curry don't want to get hit like he's seen Poole get hit, and Adam Silver is feeling sorry for him because he cried and said he wanted to retire. Caller, what's your thoughts?
Man, Draymond is Debo. Straight up. Steve Kerr and Steph Curry see that nigga riding down the street on his bike. There go Debo. And put your seat away because Draymond finna take it. He is hey man. I'm tired of that nigga too, for real. I'm so sick of Draymond, man. Like, it's irritating.
Bro.
What Taco say in the chat? I was just trying to read that shit. It threw me out. He my whole train of thought up. But yeah, Draymond is, man, I can't even put that nigga in words. He is banging on Batman. Like, he is all the evil people that we watch in movies and video games and comic books. Like, Draymond is all of them. All of them. It's something wrong.
Told you you're a narcissist, man. It's like
man,
that's
past
obvious.
narcissist. He's past that. Like, this nigga is the devil. Like, it's something wrong with Draymond. And then he got on the goddamn podcast talking about, oh, they're attacking my character. Motherfucker, you worse than Rodman. He should have been a part of the Bad Boy Pistons.
Hey, but the thing that annoys me though is that work though. Did you see all the people that was coming to support him for that angry black man comment he made? It was people that was actually on board with that, man. I'm like, yo, man, he plays everybody with different ways. It either feel guilty for me, like I'm like, this dude's not that smooth and that smart. How y'all falling for this?
Bro, I want somebody to beat his ass,
bro. I just want him to retire, man. He done made his money. He got his rings, man. Just retire, go, man. Like I want Steph gone too because he can't have like Steph pissed me off by letting that jump slide like that, and all these people say, oh, Steph is top 10 and all this stuff. I mean, what top 10 player you ever seen that can't control that locker room that need somebody like Draymond to control it for him?
Steph is very passive aggressive. Like, I ain't even gonna say aggressive. He's just passive. Like, you let this man get away with whatever. You the leader of the team. You the best player on the team. Shut the fuck up, Draymond. Go sit your punk ass down somewhere, bro.
Facts.
Like, come on, man. Hey, bro, that ain't cool. Like, it would have been so many times I didn't check Draymond out. They would kick me off the team. I would have told him to shut the fuck up so many times. Excuse my language. I would have told him to shut the hell up.
I knew Steph was passive when his wife got on national TV and said she want a man in her DM so she can feel wanted. I said, man, she should have had a black. No, I ain't gonna say that. Never mind.
Right. Don't say that. This
And I was like, yo, man, she felt comfortable to get up there and say that. Hey, you want, what I would, what I would have did if I was
gonna be on your ass.
Hey, you know what I would have did if I was Steph? I would have went and hired somebody to get in her DMs. And yeah, you want somebody in your DMs? I got somebody for you. I would have went and hired somebody to say, hey, man, I want you to, hey, you know what I mean?
Hey, what was the GOAT? What was the GOAT conversation? Bro, I missed that part.
Oh man, it was you gotta go back and watch that one. No, it was so it was an interview that I had stumbled across where Phil Jackson, Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan was getting interviewed. I think it was in '97, the last three-peat. And they had a sit down and they talked about their whole journey from the time where Phil was hired to present day where they was at. And like they talked about their whole journey to the top, of how they grinded and how they got past Detroit and all that stuff. And I thought it was a good
how you supposed to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was
how you supposed to do it.
That was the main conversation. And then it got to the part where he was talking about when he retired, some of the things he talked about why he retired. And one of the reporters asked him, you don't want no records, you don't want Kareem's record. And he was like, nah, I'd rather have the 6 rings. Like, I'm not trying to be the top scorer ever. Like I want the 6 rings. And there was an
right.
interview that I didn't know about that he went on David Letterman like in probably
89.
Was it 89?
88.
88, something like that.
89. When he won after he won the defensive player of the year.
No, I think
he blew up after that.
No, it was the year he broke his foot. He went on Letterman.
Oh no, he went in. That's
year.
when he brought out the Jordans. Then
Yeah, second year. I didn't never see that interview, and I never knew that he said that he was going to retire to play golf at 32. Like he knew he was there for a short time. Now, seriously, this man knew he was there for a short time, man. He was not worried about no records, dog.
Nah, he wouldn't. And that's how you know he a true winner. Winners ain't thinking about records. They trying to bust your ass every time they get on the court.
Facts.
That's just a competitive mindset. Like, bro, I don't care how many points I scored throughout my career. These 13 years that I'm in this league, I'm finna give y'all work. MJ was just a dog. He whole totally different dog. Like, but I was commenting on the dude TJ in the comment section. He said that LeBron gets so much. I don't even remember what the hell he said because I'm just like, these folk, bro. I don't know what the hell y'all smoking. Like, let it go. This debate should have never happened.
I agree, man. But
the closest thing to MJ is Kobe.
It's Kobe.
From 80, I say 84. I was telling my girl this last night. I was saying from 84 to like 86, that's young MJ. From 87 to 93, ain't nobody in NBA history fucking with that man. I'm sorry, Kobe not even on that level. Kobe is the back end of Jordan. He's the 95, 98 MJ. When he's like not as athletic, but he's still at the peak of his powers. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kobe was just, I don't know, like, he just made tough shots to me. Like, I couldn't stand this man, bro.
But Kobe get a bad rap, and people act like, just because Mike was uber athletic and LeBron is
that's the only difference. That's literally the only
but this is the thing. Kobe Bryant was super athletic as well. He just wasn't on the level of Michael or LeBron. He was a notch below that. But he was like you got Vince Carter, you got LeBron, you got Mike up at that top area. But just under that, you still got people like Kobe, you got who else was athletic but not like maybe
like Tracy McGrady.
I think T-Mac,
maybe Michael Finley.
Yeah, Kobe, Michael Finley, he in that range. Kobe, I don't know where T-Mac fall at. Is T-Mac with the Kobe joint, or is he up there with Vince now and Mike?
I say he wasn't as athletic as Vince. He was around like Kobe. Like
he
was Kobe. Kobe just didn't have that explosive first step.
I mean, he did though.
MJ blow right by you.
I mean, no, he did though. Kobe had all of that. I don't know why people saying he did.
Yeah, I'm saying he did, but it wasn't on MJ level. I was just saying it like that.
Yeah,
like,
but people acting like Kobe.
That was my guy.
People acting like Kobe was Reggie Miller or something.
Nah, hell no.
Come on, man. You like who if
Reggie wasn't that athletic.
That's what I'm saying. But
was way below Kobe.
But when you hear people talk about Kobe and they try to separate him from Mike and LeBron based on athleticism, they're talking like Kobe Bryant is on a freaking Reggie Miller level, and he's not. Yeah, I'm saying the names now. I'm saying names in there now. I'm saying Sprewell. I'm saying Doug Christie. I'm saying Grant Hill,
Allen Houston.
Now Allen Houston was below Kobe. Allen Houston was Penny. Penny, Kobe, Grant Hill. They all in the same vein. They just a notch below. Michael Jordan. They're a notch below. So
they all had they were athletic. You're right. You're right about that.
But they act like Kobe was Allen Houston or Glenn Rice or something, or freaking Jake. Like they tripping, man. What are y'all talking about? Like Kobe. Did y'all not see this dude win the dunk contest? Like, come on, man. This dude was out there dunking too.
Right. He didn't want to do it no more after that.
They tripping.
Yeah, nah, he did it right. But yeah, man. Shit, I'm finna go to bed.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
Show, my brother.
Yeah, for sure, man.
For
No
sure,
doubt.
man. Y'all have a good night.
All right, yep.
Wow.
All right, man. Let's I just mentioned this last topic, man. We ain't got to go too long on the draft, man. I just wanted to mention I just wanted to mention that, like, who they think they fooling. Right? You have the Dallas Mavericks. You got Luka Doncic. This dude due for a huge contract. And they trade him in the middle of the night, in the middle of the season, for Anthony Davis, right? Now, here's some things that I've noticed about how the NBA operates with this draft lottery. The draft lottery is the most riggable thing in the NBA. Like, rigging a game is not an easy thing to do, because the only way you can rig a game is through the officiating, and you don't even necessarily tell the officials they're rigging the game. Really, you just instruct the officials to call the game a certain way, right? So after reading Donaghy's book, and he explained how everything operates with the officiating, there's a head official, right? It might be some retired official. It might be somebody like Steve Javie that's the head official, right? And his job is, he's the boss of all the officials, and he gives the instruction on a game by game basis, especially in the playoffs. Is game by game, right? He gives the instruction, okay, call the game this way. I want you to, and sometimes they say that they'll send the DVD over and say it'll be a DVD full of fouls for, like, let's take the Denver OKC series, right? Imagine you just got finished reffing this game, and the next game is Sunday. So Saturday they give you a DVD, and you pop the DVD in, and it's just all fouls that you miss on Jokic. Like, hey, he was getting held here. That's a foul, and it's like 15 of them, and they're saying, we want you to watch this game, right? That's the only instruction the referees got. But what that tells you is, they want us to call that, because you have to call it, because whatever instructions you give me, I also got a grade sheet, right? Every referee has a grade sheet. So the head official is grading them on how well they followed the instructions that they gave, that they were given. How accurate were you? How well did you follow my instructions? And then I watch film on you and see how many calls you missed, and then I grade that as well. And whichever officials have the best grade at the end of the season are the ones that get the ref playoff games. And then each round, the top rated officials, the top graded officials, get to move to the next round. So if it's 10 officials for round one, of course, there's less teams in round two, so you might not only need 8 officials, right? So 2 of them drop off. The ones with the highest grade move on, and it goes all the way to the finals. And then the referees with the highest grade are the ones who get to ref the finals. So that means you get to make more money throughout the season, and you get more clout, because once you establish yourself as one of the best referees, we're calling on you for all the big games, right? And your name becomes a household name. So that's how it operates. So I have to call the games based on how the head official instructed me to call it. But where's the head official getting all his ideas from on what needs to be called? Is he having conversations with Adam Silver? Is Adam Silver saying, hey, so and so, like, I kind of need this to happen? Okay, well, I know how to make that happen. Well, we just call this, or we just won't call that. Here's the instruction. Here, go execute. So that's how it goes down, right? So it's not too easy to rig games, because even if you say watch the holes on Jokic, and that's a point of emphasis that we need to call during the game, what if OKC just hot and don't miss no shots? So you might have went into the game kind of like giving the edge to Denver by way of we're going to concentrate on these fouls that we miss in the previous game. But if OKC don't miss any shots, then your whistle ain't gonna help. They not missing. Ain't nothing we can do. Y'all still gonna lose, right? So that's why rigging outcomes for the NBA games are not that easy, because anything can happen. But the lottery is one of the most riggable things because we don't even see the lottery no more. Remember when it used to be ping pong balls and they'd turn the ping pong balls and they'd grab one out? You know what I mean? I mean, in order for that to be rigged, the ping pong balls would have to have, some of them would have to have weight to it. And I mean, that's hard. But this is the crazy thing. I want to say the year that Anthony Davis came in the draft was the year that they decided we're not doing the ping pong balls in front of everybody no more. We're just going to do them in the back room, and then we're just going to come out with the results and read the results to y'all. So we don't even get to see the ping pong balls no more. They're doing them in the back room, right? So that's already suspicious, right? So here are the other things that are suspicious. I remember when LeBron James did the decision, and he did it on national TV, and he made the decision to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Dan Gilbert, as the team owner, was so pissed off that he went on a tyrant. He went and sent out this long email, not an email, but this long message that went out public where he was writing this message to the Cleveland fans. And he called LeBron James every name in the book, everything except a child of God. I mean, he went off on him. And he was pissed off because he had just bought new arena. I think, he spent some money because he was making a lot of money because LeBron was there. As soon as LeBron left, man, they said the city of Cleveland, they lost jobs. They said the revenue went down. Like the city suffered, not just the franchise. The city suffered when LeBron left. And Dan Gilbert, of course, wasn't selling the same amount of tickets. Of course not, right? So he's probably pissed off. And I feel like the NBA had to help him out a little bit. And that's when you saying, okay, we're going to help you out. We're going to repay you because you don't have a superstar anymore and you can't sell no tickets. So we're going to help you out. And that's when Cleveland got the number 1 pick almost like 3 years in a row. I think they got it 2 years in a row and then skipped a year and then they got it again. So the first year they got the number 1 pick, I think they got, I don't know if it was Kyrie or Anthony Bennett. I don't know. I can't remember which one came first, but it was either Anthony Bennett or Kyrie. Let's say it was Anthony Bennett. So they get Anthony Bennett, number 1 pick. He was one of the top draft picks coming out of UNLV. He was nasty. I remember being in the barbershop and seeing him upset Carolina. And I was like, who's this kid? Nasty. Right. So they get him. He turned out the flop. He turned out not to be, not to be worth the number 1 pick. So they give it to him again. Here's Kyrie. They get Kyrie. They hit a home run with Kyrie. Okay, yeah, we got one now. So now Dan Gilbert, okay, yeah, I got a replacement for LeBron. I got a number 1 guy. Fine. But that still wasn't enough. They gave him the number 1 pick again, and they got Andrew Wiggins. But that was the year that LeBron came back. So now you got Kyrie, and you got the number 1 pick with Andrew Wiggins to replace the bust of Anthony Bennett, right? And then LeBron comes back and says, trade Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love, and now I got a three-headed monster, me, myself, Kyrie, and then K Love, right? So Dan Gilbert got his stimulus package back by way of number 1 picks, right? So that was fishy. The other thing that was fishy, of course, the CP3 trade when David Stern and the NBA owned the New Orleans Pelicans or the New Orleans Hornets. Were they the Hornets at the time? They owned the Hornets at the time because they didn't have a owner at the time, right? Whoever the previous owner was. So he didn't want the team no more. He sold it, couldn't find a buyer, so the NBA took over until they could find a buyer, right? So it's kind of hard to find a buyer for a team when the superstar that they got in CP3 just got traded to the Lakers. So imagine if you thinking and then you talking to the NBA about buying the Hornets and you like, okay, how many tickets they sell a game? Oh, they selling out the home games. Okay. Why they selling that? Oh, because they got a superstar in CP3. Oh, okay. So we selling out to, okay. So I can make a profit if I buy this team. right? Imagine they'd be like, oh, CP3 just got traded. Are you still go buy the team? Probably not. So I think that's what happened when the CP3 trade went down. You got a GM that works for the Hornets, and the Hornets is owned by the NBA. So in a normal world, if the GM wants to make a trade, either he'll make the trade and then send the paperwork up to the owner to sign off on it, or maybe if they got that type of relationship where I have to talk to you about it before I make the trade, then I'll talk to the owner and then I'll go make the trade. It depends on how the dynamic is. But in this situation, the GM was just operating and didn't let David Stern, as the owner of the Hornets, know that that trade was going down. So he made the CP3 trade and then turned the paperwork into David Stern. And he was like, what the hell? Like, y'all traded CP3? Don't you know I'm trying to sell this team? How you go trade the number one player that's selling their tickets? Vetoed. They gave some excuse why they vetoed it, but be smart. They vetoed it because I'm trying to sell the team and you just traded the best player. That's why I vetoed it, right? But then he thought about it and was like, the more I look at this kid coming out of Kentucky, the more I realize he's a franchise player. See, if CP3 wanted out of New Orleans, we could let him go, but we could still sell this team if they get Anthony Davis. So he went back to the owner and was like, hey, don't even worry about CP3. I'm going to make sure you get Anthony Davis. He's a franchise player. Trust me. He's a can't miss prospect. How do I know that's true? Because on the day they did the draft lottery was the same day that the owner, who also owned the New Orleans Saints, that's the same day that the owner signed the paperwork to buy the team. However, it was already announced that he was the new buyer, but he would not sign that paperwork until they did the lottery and he actually seen that New Orleans had the number one pick. Because they said they announced it, New Orleans got the number one pick, and then the camera cut and he was signing the paperwork. I've been looking for that footage. If anybody used to record the drafts back in the day, can somebody please find that footage? Because it's not on YouTube. I look for it everywhere. It ain't on the NBA website. I cannot find that draft lottery when New Orleans got the number one pick and then the owner signed the paperwork to buy it. He wanted to wait to make sure. That's how I knew he was supposed to be getting the number one pick. He didn't believe it until he seen it, though. Right? So that's another suspicious one. Cleveland getting 3 number one picks after LeBron left to replace him, and New Orleans getting Anthony Davis so they could sell the team. That's one of them. But then there's more, right? Of course, this one that we get to that one last, but there's more. There's was it Wemby? That was suspicious. Wemby going to San Antonio was suspicious. You know, that France connection that he got with Tony Parker, and you know, I just knew that was gonna be something. It's some more, man. Throw some more at me, y'all. I know it's some more out there. I can't remember all of them. But it's a lot of weird ones, right? Which bring me to what we seen with this Dallas joint. You lose Luka. It's almost as if the NBA wanted Luka in LA. And it was almost like I do believe that Dallas was tired of Luka's bullshit. I do believe they was tired of seeing Luka Vandross show up between those doors at the gym, show up out of shape. You could see his belly button through his jersey. Yeah, somebody said he had ice cream in his water bottle at practice one day. He was drinking a whole milkshake. They thought everybody would get water break. They couldn't understand why he was sucking his straw so hard. It was freaking milkshake in there at practice. Right? I just made that up. I don't think that's true, but I think they was sick of his nonsense, right? So that's why it was easy for them to make their trade. But I do think this probably came from up top. I do think Addison was like, hey, look, man, y'all not gonna sign Luka. Let him go to LA, man. We desperate at this time right now. We need the ratings. You know, we need some stuff to happen in the NBA. This is a crucial moment for us right now. We just signed this big, huge network deal with Prime and NBC and all this stuff, and we need to be out, put our best foot forward in this first year. Like we got to do it, right? So just go ahead and let him go to LA, right? And it was probably like, hey, look, we didn't want to pay him $350 million anyway, so gladly we'll make the move. But what you go give us? Don't worry about it. Y'all go get the number 1 pick. They just, whenever an owner get mad, don't worry about it. We'll give you the number 1 pick. That's what I've been saying. That's the trend. When an owner gets pissed off, or when you want to repay an owner back for doing something to help the league, the number 1 pick is always something that they lobby out there, right? And how do I know that the number 1 pick is something that you reward to people who doing the right thing according to the commissioner? Because they don't mind punishing people that do the wrong thing with picks. When Dallas tanked and pulled all their players from like the last 2 games of the season so they could lose and better their chances of getting a lottery pick, which turned into Lively. I think the punishment might have been, now they didn't lose a draft pick. I think they got some type of fine, but losing draft picks is a punishment. So if losing a draft pick can be a punishment, you must be able to give somebody a draft pick for a reward, but it's not in the rules for you to be able to do that. So that's something that's just between you and the owner. And I think winning the number 1 pick when it's a franchise player available is definitely a reward that Adam Silver gives some franchises, man, because I keep seeing it. Right. So that's just my thoughts on it. You know, you could believe it or not, but that's what I believe. You know, do your own research, look into it. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate the super chats. Did I get another one? I did get another one. Batanana said, how about D Rose to Chicago? Probably so. I mean, just like LeBron to Cleveland, D Rose to Chicago. But there was some other ones that just slipped my mind that I had after it was like 3 scenarios where when a team loses a franchise player, they get rewarded with a number 1 pick to replace them. Right. So I seen it too many times. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in, man. I catch y'all on Full Panel Friday with the whole panel later today. But other than that, man, peace. I catch y'all on the next stream.